You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high. Cause St. Louis is ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Find somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good afternoon. Good evening and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. Let us not forget that. And of course, I know you guys all have very gigantic, big hearts, and y'all give a damn. And I love that about every single last one of y'all. We are living in some really crazy times, just to say the least. But we have got to get into some things. There were some things that I missed earlier that we are going to be talking about as well. But there's also so much going on today that I haven't gotten a chance to really talk about or discuss with you guys at all. And it just keeps getting weirder and weirder. We got to get into this conversation. Sorry, 1 second, guys. I'm having some issues here. 1 second. Okay. But nonetheless, we have got to get into this conversation. So please do me a favor, okay, before we get into everything. Do me a solid. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all of them. Dagnabbit. So do me a favor. Simple ask. Hit that follow button on those platforms because there's a lot of things I'm telling you guys in real time over there on Facebook that I don't have time to jump on camera and do the whole hokey pokey and turn myself around, okay? So sometimes I'm doing it in article format. So please make sure you're following me on that Facebook page, okay? And follow me on all the other stuff, okay? Please and thank you. Hit that subscribe button here, though, on my YouTube channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe, love. Subscribe over here. That'd be greatly appreciated. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe there, too. I also have Pascal Raw. Subscribe there as well. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because it is random. And a lot of times it's breaking news or as soon as I get the news and I can get my bouquet into this room. So that's what happens. Sorry, these are the breaks, okay? Because sometimes the news breaks when you're in the middle of doing other things, right? So please make sure you hit that notification bell and set it to all. Hit that join button down below, become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out pascalmerch.com. Okay? pascalmerch.com. Go check it out. We got some really great stuff over there. Check it out. pascalmerch.com. Anyway, we got to get into this conversation. We got some new updates that have come out here as of late. There's a press conference that happened a few hours ago, which we will be taking a little trip down memory lane and listening to what they have to say about that. But we have got to get in this new situation. Something has been popping off, and I got things to say about this. And it's not good. It's no good. It ain't no good. Okay. It's no good. In my personal opinion, it's no good for various reasons. I'll explain here in just a little bit, okay? But we definitely have got to get into this conversation. First things first, all right? I want to make this abundantly clear. We still do not know where Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy Guthrie, is. No one knows where she is. Zero, zilch, not a bupkis. They have gotten with nothing. They got nothing right now. But something just recently happened, which I find very interesting. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Do I do the spoiler alert now or do I do the spoiler alert later? I'm going to do the spoiler alert later. I'm going to say what I got to say later. That's what it is. No spoiler alert. Okay. I'm going to say this in a little bit. All right. I want to make this abundantly clear to every single last one of y'all. There is a lot going on, and we still don't know what's going on. Okay. But here's the thing for sure. Savannah Guthrie's mother is still out there, nowhere to be found. No one knows where she is. We're going to hear a press conference here in just a little bit. And like I said, we're going to be taking a few steps backwards here in a second. But we're going to the first thing, the breaking news that has happened over the last hour, okay? Given the fact that they do not know where she is a massive deal. And then also I want to point this out because this might give away my thoughts here, all right? But now, okay, she got taken, right? She got tooken, okay? Liam Neeson's. And remember they said that they did not receive any letter. They did not receive not one damn thing from anybody. No ransom note, spoiler alert. No ransom note, no nothing. Okay? No ransom note, no nothing. Okay? I want to make that abundantly clear. No ransom note, no nothing. And then out of nowhere, we get this. TMZ receives a freaking ransom note? Huh? So now TMZ has a ransom note. Now let me just say this. I'm not sitting here saying that I don't believe that they got it. I don't think that they would go out of their way to make up something like this. This is not the time to start throwing out fugazis. But TMZ says that they received, of all people, a ransom note demanding a whole lot of money in Bitcoin with a Bitcoin address. Now, let me explain something to you. This could potentially be a very dumb criminal, and that would be awesome if that's the case. Okay, because if this is a dumbass, then they could do reverse math. I'll explain everything in a second. I know some of y'all are already saying in the chat, like, he said it in an email. They can track it back, son of a gun. Yes, they can. Yeah, they're dumb. They even sent a Bitcoin address. What? You don't think they could go and do reverse math and do all their due diligence and find out who it be that owns the actual Bitcoin address? But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, out of the clear blue sky, TMZ and allegedly other outlets too, other media outlets received ransom notes. Not the family, media. Just put that in your bee in your bonnet. Put that bee in your bonnet, okay? Stuff that in your pipe and inhale for just a second. Let that soak all the way down to your plums. Now, let me ask you something. Before we get into this, do you think that this is real or do you think this is a fugazi? Don't worry, take your time. We're going to read this, and then we'll circle back, and we will have that conversation. Fake or real? Fugazi, and I don't know the opposite of fugazi. Somebody smart knows it in Italian. They'll be like, "Oh, andiamo, pecude," you know. Let me know. I'm going to do a poll. Let's get into this article, though. I don't know the opposite in Italian for fugazi. Real. Sorry. How did that happen? I did not hit the applause. Never mind. This thing's tripping now. Okay? But true gazy, that's a good one. Is it a true gazy or is it a fugazi? There we go. We're going to go with that. I like that. I like that, golden girl. Okay, golden girl, thank you for being a friend. Okay, moving on. Fake or real? Let's take a look at this article because I saw this and I was like, meh. Sorry, it just seems a little bit strange. And there's some sick mother lovers out here that will do everything they can to scoop a bag, baby. just for the sake of scooping a bag. Let's take a look. So, of course, TMZ gets an alleged ransom note, all revolving around the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie, which is very jacked up if this is a fugazi. And whoever wrote this letter and they didn't have anything to do with this, may they have justice served upon them with the amount of 1,000 gavels striking down, 1 million, because 1,000 doesn't seem harsh enough, 1 million gavels, okay, of justice striking down upon them, because this is jacked up if this is fake. So we're not going to do the updates yet. We're going to go here. Another scary twist in the disappearance of Today host Savannah Guthrie's kidnapped mother. TMZ has revealed or received an alleged ransom note demanding payment for the release of, Nancy Guthrie. The note, which was sent to us Tuesday morning, this morning, demands a specific substantial amount of Bitcoin. The amount is in the millions. And the note demands the cryptocurrency be sent to a specific Bitcoin address. Now, let me just explain something to you guys. Okay. So when you do something this dumb, you send out an email like this and you say, hey, send us this stuff, give us this money, here's a Bitcoin address. You don't think that they can actually do the reverse math and find out who owns that Bitcoin address? Better yet, that email that they're sending this to everybody, because from my understanding, okay, now we're hearing that it got emailed to not only TMZ, but also NBC. Now you're seeing COLD or Cold News, COLD News received this one as well. Thank you, General Genobi, for the super chat and the heads up. So if they're sending this, okay, if they're sending this via email, then these are some dumbass mother lovers, okay? Oh, and if it is real, thank God they're dumb, because you know for a fact they're going to get the best of the best out here doing the reverse math and finding that ass. Do you understand that? Do you realize how dumb are you? You know, send an email after you take somebody. You dumb. Thank you, sweet baby Jesus, you dumb. You realize that that's dumb, right? That's dumb if you out here trying to do crime. Please, more dumb criminals, please. But this is dumb, okay? So apparently it's a fugazi or autentico. Yeah, fugazi or autentico. So authentic, right? Autentico. I got to remember that, guys. Autentico. Okay? Hopefully I'm saying that correctly, Amy. Thank you so much, Amy, for that word. We're going to have to use that. Autentico. All right? So, again, dumb. But let's continue. Let us continue. So, TMZ has verified the Bitcoin address is indeed real. There is a deadline connected to the alleged ransom and an element of or else. In a moment on our live stream above, Harvey and Charles said she was wearing an item mentioned in the note. In fact, the note says she was not wearing it. So, okay, so she was wearing an item in the note. Interesting. She was wearing an item mentioned in the note. In fact, the note says she was not wearing it. So I guess she's used to wearing like maybe a specific necklace or bracelet all the time. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she ain't wearing that necklace or that bracelet no more. Like I said, fugazi or autentico. The alleged ransom note also describes another item the sender says was damaged at her Tuscan area home. We forwarded the alleged ransom demand to the Pima County Sheriff. Nancy was reported missing Sunday, which we already know. Okay. And her disappearance has been labeled as an abduction and homicide detectives are on the case. Now, here's the thing. Let me explain something to you guys. And I will be putting up a poll because we're going to take a look at the the video with TMZ talking about this, because this is pretty insane. All right. I feel like you could do some reverse math just by going on social media and make some things up, right? You know what I mean? Like, look at stuff and go, oh, she always wears this pendant, this necklace with the pendant. You know, if you're really that sick of an individual that would waste your time, waste all these people's time, right? By you sitting there saying these specific things, you could do some reverse math and do that. Also, who's to say that some messed up individual overheard police, maybe a brother, a sister, or cousin, or something like that, is talking about, oh yeah, I'm investigating this case, and they say some things off, and they hear this in earshot. You see what I'm saying? There's plenty of opportunities for somebody to just hear something and see this as an opportunity to grab a bag. So there's a part of it that I don't entirely believe. No disrespect, okay? Yeah, you know what I mean? You're watching clips from the Today Show. You see what I'm saying? See some photos of her that she's always wearing this one thing over and over and over again. It could be a watch. It could be a necklace. It could be anything, right? It could be anything at this point, right? And they just do the reverse math. I noticed that she always wears this necklace, right? It could be a cross that she wears all the time, whatever it may be, right? And then they just go, yes, I know she wears this thing. She doesn't have it on her anymore. You see what I'm saying? Just to show proof positive that they have her. But here's the thing. I'd be like, yo, show me proof of life. Show me proof of life. Period. Wouldn't that be the first thing you would say too? Like, okay, please don't hurt her, but can you give me proof of life? Before we even do anything else, can you give me proof of life? Here's the other thing too. If the ransom note is real, which I don't think it's real, but I could be wrong. I could be absolutely wrong. Maybe they just took their time. Actually, if you really think about it, maybe they took their time. The reason why they took their time to put out the ransom note is because they wanted the drama. They wanted the coverage. They wanted it to be a national story. So everyone freaks the F out and makes it even more dramatic and more traumatic for the Guthries. That makes it more desperate. The desperation becomes even more palpable, so that when they do put out that ransom note, see, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm crazy. I'd be an amazing criminal. Here's the thing. I think if this thing is real, this ransom note is real, that maybe they waited to get the buzz, right? To get the buzz going and then put out the letter. Here it is. Now the whole world is at the edge of their seat, concerned about where Nancy went. Everyone's very concerned. Please get her home. What's going on? It's been days now. Now there's a ransom note. The desperation is even more at an all-time high. What? How much $1 million in Bitcoin? Whatever you need. Tell me what I need to do. I need my mom back. You see what I'm saying? Now that the whole world is watching? Possibly, but it feels like a scene from a movie. It seems like something from a movie. So is it real or not? I don't think it is. I don't. But maybe it is. I've been wrong a million times before. I just find it a bit strange that these guys suddenly out of nowhere drop the ransom note now. They send it out in an email. You don't think that they could track that? You don't think they could track the Bitcoin address? They even looked it up to make sure that that Bitcoin address was real. So they were able to confirm the Bitcoin address being real. They can't find out who actually made that Bitcoin address. I'm just saying it's something about it does something about it smells weird. Tastes weird and smells weird. Let's take a listen to what they have to say, though.
Something happened here just a few minutes ago. We received an email at TMZ from somebody purporting to basically issue a ransom demand. I'm not going to read this, but the top line to it is that they are asking for money, a lot. They are asking for it in the form of Bitcoin, and they are putting an or else on this.
Right.
Now, they also say they do two things.
You don't want that number.
Right. They say two things.
What a mercy.
They say that that there is an address, a Bitcoin address that
Good
that they
God.
could send this.
That didn't do a damn thing. Everybody's pausing this right now and trying to track this phone number. Anyway, let's continue.
Money to, and then they give a description of something that Savannah's mother was wearing at the time of the abduction and a damaged item in the house.
Both things are clearly mentioned because they want to prove that they're legit. That
So
they have information about something that happened in the house. We
don't know.
Don't know if that is accurate.
We have called the sheriff's department. We've made multiple calls, spoken with the detective unit. We have passed on this email. We don't know whether this is legit or not. But I will say, this happens from time to time where a media outlet gets something like this. So just in due diligence,
It's a bit weird. I'm going to be real. It's freaking weird that they got a note. And I'm going to tell you this here really quick. Black Flame just said, shame on TMZ. But here's the thing, though. Just so you know, other places are receiving this note as well. This is not the only outlet that received this note, just so you guys know. Okay? Other places, other news outlets have received this note. I'm going to look that up as we're looking at more information. But here's the thing. If that's true, either this is very real or this is very fake. I'm just side-eyeing it myself until we hear something else from local law enforcement. Law enforcement has not confirmed whether this is real or not. They say that they are aware of the ransom note, but they have no proof of its authenticity, authentico, okay? If it's whether it's real or not. So very interesting. Okay, let's play a little bit more. Crazy.
The one thing we should
has to
say
be taken very, very seriously. Go ahead, Charles.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the one thing we should say is that we have confirmed it. At least the Bitcoin address that they've included in this email is legit.
Right. And the authorities will have to take this very seriously. This is a piece of material evidence that has been turned over. They think an abduction happened. They have found substance in the house. The detective walked back a little bit. The sheriff walked back the blood idea. They said that things have been gathered and they are testing those substances. But he did clarify that this is a very open and active investigation. So we'll have to see what happens.
But see, that's very weird too, right? You got you got the sheriff walking back the fact that there was blood found inside the house now. So he's walking that back too. Why would you walk that back rather than just say, yeah, okay, we found there was blood found in the house, so on and so forth, and we're gonna get this whippersnapper and be done with it. But they're not doing that. See what I'm saying? Remember, this is the same sheriff. No disrespect to Sheriff Nanos, but he did say that she was snatched from her bed. He said that verbatim. You don't think everybody's going to take what he said at face value? And then he had to walk that back too and say, oh, no. She wasn't taken from her bed. That was just a turn of phrase. No, it wasn't a turn of phrase. You said that out loud, baby. You said it out loud, sugar. So again, that's what's so frustrating about this. What's actually true? What's actually not? Is this note for real? Is this one big fat ass fugazi? What's going on here, right? But here's the thing. Part of me feels like this is somebody who's just trying to take an opportunity to stack up on some bread because they know that there's going to be desperation. People are desperate. The family will be desperate. You also know that Savannah Guthrie got monies. She got deep pockets, and a lot of people around her in her world have deep pockets too. So you know what I mean? There's somebody out here that could literally be like, they're so desperate, they'll pay in cryptocurrency in 2 seconds flat to get their mom. But guess what? They'll never get it. They'll never get her, but we'll get the millions of dollars that we're asking for. You see what I'm saying? Someone could be using this as an opportunity to get the hookup, which is insane.
We will let you know. But right now, again, all we're doing is we've sent this on to detectives, and we will see.
Thank God that they did. But of course, we will look up and see if there's anything, if there's any other people that have been talking about this as well. If there's other places that are talking about this, because some of y'all are saying COLD, cold news. Got it too. Hold on. Let's see what they say. Well, we got the Sun. Hold on, but they didn't say anything about receiving it. Hold on. Let's see this. And while we're at it, guys, just so you know, pinned to the top of the chat, I have a poll. Okay. So do you think it's real? Do you think it's not real? Very easy question. Okay. I know some of y'all are like, what's the Fugazi and the Antentico? What's that? It means fake or real. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to see. Yeah. Right now, the places that are saying that they received a note, they're all just saying TMZ. They're all saying TMZ received a note, etc. TMZ, TMZ, TMZ. Hold on. I'm checking a few things. Well, here. Let's take a look at this. This is from the Sun, so just take it with a grain of salt, okay? But this is what they're saying too, okay? So Nancy Guthrie's sheriff, missing mom Nancy Guthrie's sheriff breaks his silence on this whole situation, basically this whole ransom situation. So he is saying, let me get that out of the way. And this is when I feel like the FBI should be getting involved, without a shadow of a doubt. FBI should definitely get involved. That's just what I think. We need more boots on the ground, right? We need more people with experience with this situation. I'm not sitting here saying that the local PD can't handle the situation, but I'm just saying we need some more people that are properly vetted, that are ready for this. You see what I'm saying? So the investigation into Nancy Guthrie's possible abduction is taking yet another terrifying twist as authorities spoke out about reported ransom notes. So local law enforcement were forced to make an eerie update after TMZ reported it had received an alleged note demanding millions in Bitcoin for Savannah Guthrie's mom. This is insane. Again, it has to be, maybe it's the Apple Watch. Maybe it's the Apple Watch that she always wears. Maybe that's what it is. That could be it too. But then if it's the Apple Watch that she always wears, we're going to get into the press conference because, I don't want to misspeak or say anything too forward. Okay. In a statement shared on social media, the Pima County Sheriff's Department wrote, "We are aware of the reports circulating about possible ransom notes." They put, note in then quote in parentheses, the S. So notes regarding the investigation into Nancy Guthrie. So how many notes have they received? Right. Cold news on Twitter. I'll take a look at that. Cold news on Twitter, because I was just Googling it. So I didn't see anything about that, but that's interesting. We're taking all tips and leads very seriously. Anything that comes in goes directly to our detectives who are coordinating with the FBI. The comment came after TMZ had reported their newsroom got an alleged ransom note demanding millions worth of Bitcoin. The note appeared to be a threat and provided details on what Nancy is wearing and specifics on how her Tucson, Arizona home was damaged. Here's the thing, though. There's a lot of people that could literally get inside information about how the space looked, after the aftermath of the space, right? You can get pieces of information from these press conferences, and then just draft some sort of ransom note for the sake of trying to make some money off of a tragic situation like this. Like I said, I don't believe it, but I could be absolutely wrong. This could very well be authentic. This could very well be the person or persons involved in this situation. Let me tell you something, though, too. I still believe that she was taken by more than just one person. That's what I truly think. I think she was taken by more than one person. But TMZ founder and host Harvey Levin spoke of the letter in a live stream, saying, when you read it, they're acting as if, yeah, only we would know these things. The note also contained a Bitcoin address that TMZ confirmed was legitimate. Levin said that they had some trouble getting in touch with the right people at the sheriff's department, but eventually were able to send over the note. So Mary Coleman, an evening anchor at the local CBS affiliate Cold, COLD, also said her newsroom has gotten many tips, including what appeared to be a ransom note. In fact, we are going to look at that X account really quick, because apparently it's on X, right? So let's take a look at that. 1 second. Mary Coleman, here it is. This is what she said. And just so you guys know, who is she? She's an evening news anchor at Cold News. Okay, proud Southern Arizonan and all that. Okay, so she says right here, this blurb was released by the PCSD regarding Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Savannah Guthrie. Many tips have been coming in, including to local newsrooms. Our newsroom has received what appears to be a ransom note, so they received it as well. Okay, and we have sent it to law enforcement. We will be out in the field working on this story and speaking with officials tonight, and we'll share any information we confirm. So if there's going to be a press conference tonight, you definitely are for sure. We will be here live to talk about it tonight. Okay, we will be listening and watching. But again, this is from Pima County Sheriff's Department. This was about an hour ago. We are aware of the reports circulating about possible ransom notes, and I'm assuming it's the same ransom note. It's just been sent multiple times, and I'm sure they're receiving the same ransom note over and over and over again. Now I want to know what this ransom note says specifically, and I wish TMZ, because you know TMZ about to spill all the tea, but they're not spilling all the tea on this one, and I'm wondering why. I wish that they would just spill the tea and be done with this. You see what I'm saying? But nonetheless, here it is. All right. They're well aware of these ransom notes regarding the investigation into Nancy Guthrie. We are taking all tips and leads very seriously. Anything that comes in goes directly to our detectives, who are coordinating with the FBI. Thank you for having the FBI finally involved. See, once you get all super technological, right? Once you start getting into Bitcoins and emails and all that, FBI, bring them in right now. You know what I mean? Get them in as soon as possible. We encourage anyone who may have any information or tips to share them via this QR code. So scan this, guys. If you know anything, say something. Please do the right thing. You are watching this show and you are sitting with Nancy Guthrie right now as we speak. Do the right thing. Bring her home. Turn yourself in. Real talk, you never know. There's a lot of people watching this show right now. You never know, okay? But real talk, I don't know if this ransom note is the real deal. I just don't know. Okay? I just don't know. But we will see more. Okay? We will see. All right. Let us continue on. But like I said, I got a poll. You tell me. Okay? I'd love to see it get to 1,000 votes. So let me know. Okay? Do you believe the hype? Do you believe it, or do you think it's a one big fat ass fugazi? Anything is possible. And I don't think there's any wrong answers right now. I don't. I really don't. Let's continue on, though. So after reading what we just read from Mary Coleman, okay, she explained on X that they have sent the letter or the note to law enforcement and will be asking officials for updates. All right. And we're going to take a look at this timeline one more time for all you guys that are curious about what really went down so far. We will be looking at that in a little while. So the letter surfaced just as so the search still continues. The letter surfaced just as authorities revealed in a press conference that their days-long investigation has turned up nothing but dead ends. They're still searching for any sign of Nancy, who cops fear was taken from her bed in the early hours of Sunday morning. She was last seen on Friday evening, just before 10 p.m., when her family dropped her off after they all had dinner together and playing mahjong and all of that. So distraught family called 911 Sunday afternoon when they conducted a wellness check after a parishioner at their mom's church said she never showed for Monday service. Detectives have given some clarification on conflicting reports about their investigation. In a statement given to the U.S. Sun, they confirmed all the DNA samples collected from the home have been confirmed to belong to Nancy. That is not good news. While several outlets have reported that blood was found at the property, the sheriff's office made it clear this hasn't been verified. That is messed up. And I think that he's saying that to throw people off and not trying to get the Guthrie family all in a tizzy. Again, guys, this is an absolute targeted attack. This was absolutely targeted. Why? Was this about money? Is it solely about money? Because if it is solely about money, then that ransom note is real. Okay? But if it's not real, then why was she targeted? That's what I want to know. Sources have also spoken about Guthrie having a pacemaker. And the sheriff's office said they're looking into this. I'm wondering what kind of pacemaker she has. Because some of these pacemakers are really like, some of these pacemakers are legit. Like they got all these extra bells and whistles, and you can find out how, when that pacemaker may have gone off, etc. I mean, shoot, damn near these things can like play music. It's almost like that. You know what I mean? They're so technologically advanced. What if there was like some sort of, I don't know, it sounds weird, but Bluetooth, or the pacemaker stopped, huh? Well, we have got to get into this, okay? Hold on one second. One second. One second. One second. All right. Well, then this is what we gonna do, because we need to get into the press conference. All right. We haven't seen the press conference yet, and I want to see it myself. So let's take a look at this, because I feel like we get more information there that can give us, we can start connecting the dots. Okay. But Bitcoin, of all things, yeah, this ransom note wanted Bitcoin. They wanted copious amounts of money through cryptocurrency. They say TMZ did their due diligence. They say that that Bitcoin address is indeed real. So it's not a fugazi, the Bitcoin address, but that could be anybody writing anything for the sake of using this opportunity to make some money. So what say you? Do you think this is the real deal? Or do you think this is just one big lie? Caroline, they did not give a specific number. They didn't say a certain amount, but you know for a fact news is going to be out here. Like, news is going to be out here. They're eventually going to unearth that information. They'll unearth that number here very soon. Trust me. They do this for the clicks and the likes too. You see what I'm saying? They will eventually say it. The number will eventually come out. Eventually, the actual ransom note will get leaked. They're just waiting. You know how they do. You know exactly how they do. Let's take a look at this press conference, though. And do me a solid, guys. Do me a solid. I see a lot of y'all in here. I appreciate you guys being here. But come on, guys. Do me a solid. Hit that like button down below. All right. I'd love to see like 1.5K. Okay. 1.5 likes. That would be amazing. Hit that like button down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. We talk about a lot of things on this channel. Everything from true crime to pop culture and politics and all the crazy mucky muck in between. Sometimes they're all connected. Sometimes we talk about it all in one day, all in one show. That's how crazy this world has been lately. So please make sure you're subscribed. All right. And hit that notification bell. Let's take a look at this press conference, shall we? Hold on, I'm pushing it ahead.
Sheriff there in Arizona updating reporters now on what we know about the investigation.
Jeopardy. And so job number one is we got to find her, and we got to work hard to do that. I understand there's great attention on this, and rightfully so. And I appreciate it, and I thank you for it, because it has generated a lot of leads for us. And so we're tracking those leads, and we're doing things with evidence that you would expect us to be doing.
It's crazy.
So having said that, we're going to set this up. I know that a number of you yesterday, you guys drove me crazy. Yesterday, I was going from a.m. to all the way to 9, 10, 11 midnight, answering concerns and questions, and it's just too tough. And it's not fair to the case. So what I'm going to tell you is today we're going to do this similar to what we're doing right now. Here we'll take questions. It's not really my briefing, it's your briefing. You'll be able to ask us some questions. We'll probably shut you off after a while because I just can't be here all day. We have work to do. But we'll take some questions, and then in a couple of days, breaks. We'll do this every couple of days. So, and we'll set up with you through our PIO teams to give you.
Yes, I'm very, very aware that this press conference was just a couple of hours ago. We have not seen it yet. That's why we're playing it right now, because there's pieces of it that I want to rerun. I didn't see it earlier with you guys, so we are watching it right now. Okay, and I'm sure a lot of you guys didn't see this either. So this is the press conference from a few hours ago. And of course, if there is another press conference a little bit later on tonight, then we will be watching that and talking about that as well. Okay, guys, just so you guys know. Let's continue.
Anything that comes up that might change, but clearly they will notify you on these, what I call media briefings. So with that, I'm going to ask John to come up. If you've got a statement to say, John, and then we'll take some questions and we'll get back to work.
Hello, I'm John Edwards. My spelling is Jonedwards. I'm the Assistant Special Agent in charge of the FBI's office here in Tucson. First, we want the community to know that the FBI is doing everything in our power to bring Nancy Guthrie home to her family. The FBI is working alongside the Pima County Sheriff's Department on this incident. In terms of what the FBI is doing, we are providing the following support. Primarily, it's analytical and technical support in the following ways. We're downloading and analyzing cell phones, obtaining cell tower information, conducting interviews, and providing any and all investigative support that the Sheriff's Department needs. We're looking at this from every angle, but we need your help. If you live in the area or saw something on Saturday night, the 31st of January, or Sunday morning, the 1st of February, please report it to the Pima County Sheriff's Department or the FBI at 1-800-CALL-FBI. Every lead and tip is important. We are aggressively pursuing and looking into every single one. Again, please help us bring Nancy Guthrie home. Thank you.
We'll take some questions.
Sheriff, is there any indication so far as to whether this was a random abduction or targeted?
It's like I said earlier, we're looking at all the leads, and we don't know. We're going to assume both sides of that. We'll look.
They are completely clueless. And I don't mean that to be rude. I'm just keeping it a bean. They are completely clueless. Okay? Completely. This is frustrating, y'all. But let's continue.
Look at both sides of that.
Do you have any idea what Nancy Guthrie was wearing, or the type of car that she might have left from, or any identifiable information that the public could use to help with those tips?
We do not.
Sheriff,
do you believe that one or more than one person was involved in the kidnapping?
I just no clue. It could have been one. It could have been more. I don't know. Let me get one second.
Is there any indication that is still alive? We know the medication played a critical role here. It's been 48 hours. She needs it every single day. Are you looking for someone that is still alive?
We hope we are. We hope we are.
Sheriff, you said earlier that you don't believe there's a wider threat to the public. If you're not sure if it's targeted, why do you believe there's no wider threat to the public?
Well, we have crime in Tucson all the time, right? Like any city. And so when you say a threat to the public, is there somebody out there who's kidnapping elderly people in the middle of the night every night? We've not heard that. We don't believe that's the case. We do believe that Nancy was taken from her home against her will, and that's where we're at.
Sheriff, when you reference violence at the site, can you elaborate on that? And also, was there a sign of forced entry, any valuables taken, any bank or ATM cards used after her disappearance?
We're not getting into that. What I tell you is, like any crime scene, we processed this crime scene. We gathered all the evidence we could, to include looking for what? Fingerprints, DNA, camera images, everything you can imagine. And we gathered that out. Those things have been submitted forward to labs, to technological companies to help us. And we're like you. We're waiting for those returns to come back.
Did you find DNA? Did it not belong in that house?
The window of time from when she was last seen to when she was reported missing, and I know you guys are asking for help from the public, is there any way to narrow down what time you might be up? Like, I know there was a report about a pacemaker dinging like around 2 o'clock in the morning. Is there any way to indicate to people, hey, look around 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. to help them identify?
I really don't want to get into narrowing down the time, because narrowing it down means we could miss some tips and leads. We're working with the data we've submitted for investigative analysis. We're working to see if that time can be tightened up. But for now, we're going with what we told you earlier. She was dropped off at 9:30, and she was found to be missing at about 11 o'clock Sunday morning.
Again, I get it. This is still very fresh, this whole case, and there's not much left behind for this situation. But like, what in the heck is going on here? You see what I'm saying? Like, there's just so much. This is frustrating, y'all. This is very, very frustrating. It makes you wonder what do they know? And the fact that they're walking back the whole possible, that there was the DNA that was found, it's not, we can't tell you if that's blood or not. It's like, just say whether or not it is, so we can kind of get a better idea of what the heck is going on here. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, this is just getting frustrating.
Let me get this one.
DNA of anyone else found in the house?
We've submitted all kinds of samples for DNA, and we've gotten some back, but nothing to indicate any suspects.
Anybody strange in the neighborhood? I know you're looking at video, different surveillance camera, anything that we should be looking at, different cars?
I have nothing in that regard.
Have any
demands been made by kidnappers?
We have all kinds of investigative leads we're working on.
Sheriff, we noticed that the camera on the front of the house is missing.
Brian Enton.
The perpetrator purposely took the camera.
Don't know that. We're looking into that as well.
That's fully processed now. We saw deputies leave around 6 o'clock last night. We didn't see tape go up. An Amazon driver was able to walk right up to the door. Is that pretty standard for how you handle this?
The scene is done. We're done with the residents. If we need to go back to get, maybe we want to do something with some other piece of evidence there, we contact the family and let them know. But we've turned that over to the family. I don't have the time, but it was sometime yesterday, I believe.
Can I say something really quick? I'm sorry for interrupting while they're cooking. First off, shout out to Brian Enton. He's great at what he does. Shout out to Brian Enton. But let me just point something. Yeah, like the hardest working dude in true crime. I'm gonna be real. Like anything that's popping off, he's suddenly there. I don't know if he has his frequent flyer miles must be insane. But that's another conversation. That's another conversation in itself. All right. Let me just say this really quick. If it's true, because Brian Enton was like, yeah, the camera in the front of the house was removed. Could it possibly be that was removed while she was being taken, or was it just removed before? Could we find that out? Here's the thing. If there is no camera showing, if there was a camera that was removed before or after this whole thing went down, then that means that this person knew about Nancy's house, knew the layout. You see what I'm saying? So this could possibly be, oh, good God, but it could possibly be an inside job. Think about that. And I don't mean inside job like the kids did it. No. I'm saying like an employee, maybe a disgruntled employee, maybe an employee that actually got hired specifically so that they can figure the grounds of the area, go there, work, posing as a whatever they're posing as, you know what I mean? As a hired individual, an employee, to take care of the grounds, take care of the pool, clean the inside of the house so that they understand every nook and cranny of that house. So that when they go for the attack, they can go and get rid of that camera. But here's the other thing too. They say that they have footage. But do they have, but they don't. Okay, hold on. I'm not sitting here saying that I do not have faith in 5-0. They're doing everything they can. They're just as confused and they're just trying to figure it out just like everybody else. Obviously, they know a lot more than what we know. But one thing is for sure. If there was a car or if there was an image of an assailant captured in any way, shape, or form, wouldn't they have released an image of that particular person by now? Or the kind of car? Hear me out. They would be fast to put that stuff out, right? We saw a Honda Civic pull up in the front of the house around 2:45 a.m. Looks like it's a midnight blue kind of car, 4-door. Looks like kind of like a Honda Civic. They would already put that out by now. And if it was even a dude with a balaclava or whatever the hell's called, you know what I mean? With the whole, the Brian Koberger, okay? Full face, you just see his bushy eyebrows, right? They'd still show us that footage, right? Here's the assailant. Looks like he's trying to take down the camera. They would have shown that, right? Because time is of the essence, right? So they would have shown all that. So I think they don't have enough footage that could really that they could really show to the public right now. And maybe they're going to get some stroke of genius, some stroke of a miracle by like some sort of ring camera by somebody's house, the car driving by the house at a ring camera down the street or something like that. You see what I'm saying? Think about that for a second. We would have been seeing a Honda Civic photos of a Honda Civic. And then everybody and their mama would have been, pulling over every midnight blue Honda Civic out here in these Tuscan streets right now. Don't you think they'd be doing that by now? But they're not doing that. And they're not doing these press conferences going, we are on the lookout for a blue Honda Civic that we saw in front of this Nancy Guthrie's house. This is a vehicle of interest that we are looking for. So if you've seen this car, please contact us or just simply call 911. They would have done that by now, but they haven't. They have not. Something's up. And I know I'm crazy. We already know that. That has been established. I feel like this is some sort of inside gig. Something about this gives me inside all day long. And no, I'm not talking about the next of kin. I'm not talking about the kiddos. Not at all. I'm putting the kids off to the side. I feel like there could be somebody who worked there, somebody who's currently working there, or something. Because how would they know, right? How would they know this is the time to strike at this particular time? Again, do you think the ransom note is real or no? I pinned that to the top of the poll or top of the chat. The poll is pinned to the top of the family chat. Let me know. Again, ask questions. There are no right answers and there are no wrong questions in this situation until we actually find out more, right? But I feel like, random. Okay. Maybe it is a disgruntled ex-employee, right? Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But I truly think that this person did not operate alone. I think it took a team to do this. A team of two, at least, right? To do this. And if you really think about it, this was done in kind of like a one fell swoop type of situation. Yes, there was a struggle, but they still got her and they moved her out. Now, I used a Honda Civic for an example. There's no Honda Civic in this conversation. I was just using that for an example, right? But again, if there was footage and they had it, this would be plastered all over the internet. Do you understand that? I feel like Savannah Guthrie would have been putting out photos of this on her Instagram and in her Instagram stories. She'd be sharing it with the Today Show and everybody over at NBC News. Are you kidding me? This would be all over the place, guys. So something ain't right. Something ain't right. They don't have enough. That's clearly what's going on here. But they're trying to stay transparent with the public, which I appreciate, which we should appreciate. Law enforcement being honest and open here. But they don't have enough information. And this could very well be the downfall of the situation. But God only knows. Let's continue, guys.
Sheriff, cover any tire tracks or any footprints around the house?
No.
Was there any Could you please take us through the timeline that you've established of the events so far and with as much detail as you can?
9:45, we were told she was left at her home by the family. At 11 o'clock in the morning, the family got notice from somebody at church that she was not at church. They went to the home, found her to be missing. That's the timeline. From Saturday night, 9:45, we'll say, to Sunday morning, 11 o'clock.
Let me just say this really quick, and we'll continue. I think it would be very, 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 very wrong. This is going to be a very strong statement that I'm going to say, okay? But I feel like it would be a very, very wrong and not fully thought out move if they have footage and they have not released it to the public. That would be absolutely detrimental to this case. Especially when time is of the essence, they should be putting out video, stills, whatever they have to try to get the public to start getting their eyes open and start looking to see if any of these things stick out when they're out in public. It'd be extremely wrong for them not to put this stuff out there for the rest of the world to see. So if they do have that footage, man, they better do it now. It's her life on the line, right? We shall continue.
Let me get somebody back here, please.
Have you interviewed the people that reported her missing, the people from the...
That's the family. Oh, from the church as well. We're doing all kinds of interviews. Yes, I'm sure we have.
Have you been able to access the footage from the cameras at the house?
That's all been submitted, and we're doing our best with those companies who own those cameras or built those cameras.
Are there any plans to release those videos from the cameras, from the surveillance?
Yeah.
Are there any plans to release the video from the cameras, surveillance footage?
We don't even have them yet, so no, not at this time. This is an active investigation.
Report of
They don't even have the footage yet. You heard that, right?
plans to release those videos from the cameras, from the surveillance. Are there any plans to release the video from the cameras, surveillance footage?
We don't even have them yet, so no, not at this time. This is an
Why wouldn't you have? Yeah, that's no ghoul. No, you see, Angela, I get the, Angela. I understand the idea of, have a little patience, but we don't have time. Remember, they said 24 hours she runs out of her medication that she does not have. If she does not take that medication, she could perish, so on and so forth, right? So time is of the essence, right? So it doesn't make any sense for her to suddenly for them to not put out the most important stuff, which is footage, and they don't have it yet. Now, I understand that there could be possibilities of certain things, like there's certain walls they have to get down. Like, one, they have to figure out what her password is to get to the security cam footage, if there is security cam footage to obtain, right? And I'm sure that could be really tough to get their hands on that information. But we on Tuesday, baby. She been gone since Sunday morning or Saturday late at night. However you see fit, however you see that night. Time is of the essence. Okay. And yes, there were cameras that were missing. Yes. 166 Goddess. Yes. They said that there were cameras that were missing. Yes. So again, if there's no footage, if they got nothing, then they got nothing. But if they have information, right? If they have the footage, that should have already been out by now. You see what I'm saying? So it's reckless for them not to have that out. This is not time to have patience. This is the time to we got to move fast, baby. Right now. You know what I mean? But let's go.
Investigation.
There's a report of a suspicious man a few doors down last week. Is that anything that you guys are aware of?
I'm not aware of it. My detectives may be. There's a lot of detective work being done, and I just can't get into those weeds or even discuss with you what they may not have learned. Yes, ma'am.
Report from the board yesterday. Are there specific resources that maybe the board has not granted that would have made a difference responding to this case?
Well, that's getting into my own local politics. I apologize. Yes, the board a few weeks ago denied a request for more cameras, more drones, more AI capabilities with our own body-worn cameras. All those things, that you'd have to talk to the board. I'm not probably not the right time to go into this.
Sheriff,
let me get somebody else here.
Sheriff,
Yes.
do you believe she's still in this area?
Do we believe?
Do you believe she's still in this area, or is there somewhere else?
We don't know where she is. So we like any investigation. Just start from the point of where we last saw her, and we work out, and we're working as far out as we can go.
Sheriff, can you walk through the evidence found?
Forced entry at the house, like any broken windows or whatever? Does it seem like people just went in and out?
There are concerns at the house that concerned us from the early on part of this investigation, and that's all I will tell you. Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Is there anything?
Hold on. I need to hear that part one last time.
Where we last saw her, and we work out, and we're working as far out as we can go.
Sheriff, can you walk through the evidence found?
Forced entry at the house, like any broken windows or whatever? Does it seem like people just went in and out?
There are concerns at the house that concerned us from the early on part of this investigation, and that's all I will tell you. Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Is there?
One more time.
From the early on part.
It seemed like people just went in and out.
There are concerns at the house that concerned us from the early on part of this investigation, and that's all I will tell you. Yes, ma'am.
What does that mean? What does that mean, guys? What do you think that means? What do you think that means? Huh?
Sure. Is there any history with Nancy needing police at her place or concerns where she was worried about somebody following or?
You know, our investigative team has looked into all of those things, and that has not been brought to my attention. So she may have had something like that, but I'm not aware of it.
What is the extent of collaboration with the federal government? Obviously, FBI is here, CBP. Are there other agencies also involved?
CBP's role in this was in our search and rescue mission, where we constantly use them. They have great dogs too. Our dogs aren't tracking dogs for this. Theirs are, and so they came out and did that. Anybody else though that we've asked for help from, whether it's the FBI, I know if we needed help from CBP or DEA or ATF, they would gladly give it. I've heard from leadership from all sorts of agencies, not just at the federal level, but across the state. Every one of them saying, Sheriff, you need anything, we're here.
Sure. So you obviously said investigators, when they got on scene, they found suspicious circumstances. When the family called originally to report her missing, did they say anything about the state of the home?
I don't know that. I don't know.
Okay.
Let me hang on. Let me make sure I'm getting some different people here. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so there was blood that was found inside the house and you're testing it for DNA. How much blood and where was it?
I'm not saying there's blood inside that house or outside that house. What I'm saying is our team processed a scene like you would think of any crime scene. We go in and we process it. We look for things like that: blood, DNA, any kind of physical evidence, fingerprints, anything. And all of that is gathered and submitted to a lab. That lab will report back to us what they find. So from that lab is nothing that would tell us this is who did this.
We'll take a couple more questions and then the sheriff's got to go.
Sheriff, can you walk through the evidence that was found at the scene in as much detail as possible?
No, I cannot.
What is the bottleneck to the surveillance footage? I know you said some of it is in the cloud, but you've also been reached out to tech companies that are saying they're cooperating. Why do you not have the surveillance footage on media?
That's what I tell them. How come I don't have this? Where's my evidence? It is a process, and I'm sorry, but you know, we're grateful that there's large corporations and companies who have bent over backwards to help us, to say, hey, Sheriff, tell us what you need. And so, yeah, I can't slam them. And we've asked them. They know the urgency here, but I'm like you. What do you mean I don't know that now? Yeah, it's tough.
That's crazy that we have to, we are still waiting. You see what I'm saying? On something that should have already been in their possession already. And I mean, of course, I'm hoping that by tonight or tomorrow, but see, that's the thing. Time is of an essence. Where is she? And if they say, Nicole B, come on now. You know what I'm saying? This is way too slow. This is way too slow. I get patience. Trust me, I get it. I understand it 110%, but it's like, wow, y'all don't even have that yet? I'm just saying, y'all. It's been more than 48 hours, baby. You still want to, it's Tuesday. It's Tuesday, after late afternoon, soon to be early evening for a lot of us. You know, and still they don't have certain pieces of information that they should have already been had. It's just, yeah, like I said, I'll try to have patience in my heart, but I'm also concerned about mama coming home. You know what I mean?
About an answer that you gave earlier, you were asked if there
Last question.
You were asked if there was any ransom, and you didn't say no. You said we're following all leads. Does that mean a ransom has come in?
We're following all leads we have. That's all I can tell you. We've got hundreds of leads, and it's from you that produce those leads by telling people we need help, and I'm grateful for that. But I'm not going to get into all that. We have a team designated to deal with all of our leads. They're looking into all of that. We We are sharing all of our leads with the FBI. They are helping us in evaluating those leads, how good they are, where that priority should be. And so we're just, look, I know you guys are doing your job, and you're doing a great job, but we have a job to do too. And I really need to back away from this for a while, and we'll see you, unless something breaks, we'll see you Thursday morning. PIO will give you a time frame, I'm guessing somewhere around 11:30.
Why Thursday? Like, okay, first and foremost, baby, there was a ransom note. How about you do a presser on that right now? How about you do a presser right now? You know, it's like, oh, we're just doing this press conference just to talk to you guys and answer these questions. And then they're like, do you have any footage? We don't have any of that yet. Could this be inside job? We can't answer that right now. We can't answer that at all. So it's like, okay, you're here for transparency, but you can't be transparent. So what is this for? What is this conversation for? Appreciate your being here, trying to be open, but hey, man, where mama at? And then they're not going to do another one until How about this? You just got a ransom note. Can we have a conversation about that right now? Is it real or is it not? Now, I know that they got to do their due diligence, so we might not get that presser until first thing tomorrow morning or late tonight. But at the same time, Thursday, though, you out your freaking mind. People are going to be going crazy in the streets, okay? Media is going to go nuts if they don't get another press conference very, very soon. But let's continue, okay?
That's it. Thank you. I need your emails. If you are not on the email list, get with me in the corner. I'll be right by the sheriff's line, okay?
That's it. And that's
Pima
it.
County,
and we're going to pause it right there because we got to take a look at News Nation, because I know a lot of y'all been saying it over and over and over again. And also Charlie Kirk's Tyler Robinson apparently is appearing in court, or appeared in court today. Sorry for that left turn, but we're keeping an eye on the Charlie Kirk case, to the Alex Preddy, to the Renee Good stuff. I mean, there's so much stuff going on. There's always something going on. Did y'all hear that Jill Biden, former First Lady Jill Biden's ex-husband, has been arrested for murder of his own wife? What in the hell is going on with this world? So now he's been charged with murder. What? All right. I just needed to say that so you guys know about that, because what in the hell is going on? But let's get over to News Nation about this. We're getting back to the case. We're getting back to this subject matter. Okay. Again, do not forget to hit that like button down below. Hit that subscribe button. Okay. Hit that like, please. And thank you. Okay. It doesn't take too much. You burn a couple calories while doing it. So, if you're trying to get slim thick, help me out. Hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe. Okay. We're keeping a very close watch on this whole situation. Yeah. If you don't know about Jill Biden's ex-husband getting arrested and has been charged with murder, we're going to be talking about that way later in the show. We got to get into this information. Diggity damn. All right. And so apparently they're saying that there is blood seen in this, in the walkway of this house, at the crime scene, basically. Let's take a look.
Back now to Arizona. We're hearing from police today who appeared no closer to finding Nancy Guthrie. Pima County Sheriff was out earlier, appeared at an update, and appeared more hesitant to share information about the search for the missing Today Show anchor's mother. We learned a lot about what the authorities do not know now. They don't know where she is. They don't have DNA evidence to indicate suspects, and they don't know if the crime is random or not. As I bring in senior national correspondent Brian Enton live in Tucson, I do want to get into this issue of ransom note, which you and I talked about last hour. Not any confirmation of a note from authorities by any stretch, but a confirmation that they're aware, Brian, that there are reports of a possible note, right?
Yeah, so we asked about it at the press conference, Connell, and the sheriff kind of dodged the question about whether there had been any demand for a ransom, basically just said that they're continuing to look into everything. Now there has been this TMZ report where TMZ is indicating that they actually received a ransom note related to the case. And the specifics they gave are that there were specific clothing information that Nancy Guthrie was wearing, and also specifics about certain things inside the house, and that there was an actual dollar amount that they were asking for. We have no idea if this is legit or just some crazy person emailing TMZ. But this is interesting, Connell. This is now out on the sheriff's office website. They say, we are aware of reports circulating about possible ransom notes regarding the investigation into Nancy Guthrie. We are taking all tips and leads very seriously. Anything that comes in goes directly to our detectives who are coordinating with the FBI. So again, they are not really confirming or denying whether any of these ransom claims are legit, Connell.
And more FBI involvement, right, at that news conference today, at least, in their presence. And they were reluctant to speak yesterday, but maybe even more so today about details, right?
Yeah, they seem to be much, much more tight-lipped today, Connell, in terms of just the vibe from the sheriff. He gave a lot more information yesterday. We were actually able to just walk up to the house, and we just got some new video, which I'm hoping to get to you soon. But it's pretty disturbing when you get up to the front door of the house, Connell. You can now see blood, like a blood trail coming out of the front of the house. Which is something that we're seeing for the first time now that the crime scene is cleared. We could get a little closer. And the other thing we noticed, which I had reported earlier, is that the ring. Here we go. This is the new video. Look at this closely, Connell, because this is the first time that we're seeing this. But you can see right there. See the blood? There's blood outside the front door very clearly.
That is not good. That is not good. And they're saying that this is hers. They're saying that the DNA, that this is hers, guys.
We're seeing this, but you can see.
Hold on, I'm rolling it back so we can see the beginning of this. This is not good. This is crazy.
Crime scene is cleared. We could get a little closer. And the other thing we noticed, which I had reported earlier, is that the ring. Here we go. This is the new video. Look at this closely, Connell, because this is.
Look at all that right here. All that down here. I mean, there's definitely some traces of blood there. That's definitely what's going on. And I'm wondering what this is. I don't know if that's like broken glass. All down here. Hold on. I'm rolling it back a little bit.
We noticed, which I had reported earlier, is that the ring. Here we go.
I don't see any broken glass.
Which I had reported earlier.
Yeah, like what is that right there? Yes, that's blood. We see the droplets of blood all on the in the front walkway. But what's that here? Is that just dirt, or is that like glass? I'm wondering, because I don't see any like these side panels to the door, these side window panels. They're not broken, right? So I'm curious,
Is that the ring? Here we go. This is the new video. Look at this closely, Connell, because this is the first time that we're seeing this. But you can see right there. See the blood? There's blood outside the front door very clearly.
That's grass or like flowers or something. Interesting.
And then you'll notice the ring camera is also missing. And I asked the sheriff about that, and he said they're looking into it. Whether did the perpetrator pull the ring camera off when they were leaving? He said that's still under investigation.
He most definitely did. They most definitely did. Who, you know what I mean? But then that's the question. How quickly does that footage go straight up to the cloud? Or does it just go to a hard drive, to a computer, or something of that sort? It's got to go somewhere, right? And when does it do that, right?
Stand out to you that you're able to do that this is not still secured as some sort of a crime scene, that they're allowing people to walk up, or that the family is now back, right, controlling the home rather than the police? And there's the blood again. Wow.
Yeah, there's the blood again. It surprised me. I mean, in other, crimes I've worked, they'll keep a whole house closed off with crime scene tape for a week while they're still investigating. And we asked the sheriff about it. He said, look, they are done processing the house. They released it to the family yesterday, and it appears right now there's no one home.
But then it's like, can we get inside the house though? I hate to say that, but I'm like, I really want to know how in disarray it is on the inside of that house. You see what I'm saying? Like, how bad is it? Is it in really bad shape, or is it just like nothing? Right? It's so strange. So strange. Yeah. So Brian Enton, he everywhere. Brian Enton's everywhere, guys. Everywhere. But yeah, they also said that the crime scene, like I guess they're done with the scene. They're done with the house for now. So we got to wait and see what they're gonna do on that. But it's open for now. Which is just insane. Oh, this is the wildest case. This is the wildest case that we've covered and talked about in a really, really long time. And and I don't think I've ever covered something like this before. Like a potential ransom type of situation. I've never covered anything like this in my life. This is strange to me. It just feels like something that you see in a movie, but you never see it in real life. So that's very strange. Hold on, guys. One second.
Where is Nancy Guthrie? 84 years old in her Arizona home, vanished. She is the mom of NBC's Today Show host, Savannah Guthrie. Fox News confirming new information in the case. Listen to this. The last time Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker was synced with her Apple devices was Sunday morning. And investigators discovered blood inside her home.
Do we know specifically what time her pacemaker linked to her Apple devices? What time exactly, right? Because if we find out the exact time that her pacemaker linked with one of these Apple devices, then we can get a better idea of what actually happened, right? Then they can get a window at least to see where, you know what I mean? So it's 2 a.m., around 2 a.m. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Y'all are so brilliant. Thank you. Y'all are so brilliant. Diggity damn. Okay. So yeah, this is scary stuff, y'all. Because it does make you think, like, any person that's out here. I mean, you look at Jenna Bush, you look at Hoda, you look at all the other people that are involved in this, or any person, like everyone from the Bill O'Reillys to the Cuomos to the, you know what I mean? These big names, right? And these big names in news, whether they do political or they just do fluff, just news for the day. It does make you, I would hope that they're all looking at beefing up their security, not only just for themselves, but for the loved ones. Because if somebody's willing to do something like this, and if it is really about money, and if it is really about her being the news anchor that she is, I just hope that others will take it upon themselves to make sure that their families are safe. You know what I mean? This is so strange.
I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. The Pima County, Arizona sheriff confirming Nancy Guthrie may have been kidnapped from her bed. But he has designated 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie's Tucson home a crime scene. They did that pretty early on, although no details why they suspect abduction. Here's the sheriff.
It is our belief she was removed from that home against her will. We're racing the clock here. The family has told us 24 hours without those meds could be fatal. And here we are at 30 plus hours or more. We never give up hope. We'll always be hopeful that we find her safe and sound. But there is a side of this that we just can't ignore when we see things in front of us.
Let's jump into the timeline now. Nancy Guthrie was last seen Saturday night around 9:30, 9:45 after a dinner with her family. Her church alerted the family when she did not show up the next morning for Sunday service. They then did their own search, we are told by the sheriff's department during that news conference we carried live during this hour yesterday. The family searched and then contacted police to report her missing. And the timeline there was between 11 and noon. They did their own. By noon, the sheriff's department was in. The sheriff will not rule out foul play in this case. We knew that very early on as you look at the timeline. And yesterday, he confirmed criminal activity at the home and also announced an abduction, possibly, of Nancy Guthrie. Former FBI Special Agent Nicole Parker is coming up with me in focus. Let's begin with senior correspondent Alicia Acuna outside Nancy Guthrie's home in Tucson.
Hi, Harris. You mentioned that Fox News Digital reporting that pacemaker last synced with the Apple devices around 2 a.m. We also understand, according to Fox News Digital, that those Apple devices were still in the home, the Apple Watch still on its charger at the time. Keep in mind, this is the last time that Nancy Guthrie was seen was in the evening of Saturday when the family dropped her off at her home after dinner. Now, we want to give you a better idea of what this neighborhood looks like and a sense of where she lives. We are in the northeast part of Tucson in the Catalina foothills. Harris, I know you're very familiar with this area. You can see this area, which has many nice homes. It's also spaced out a bit when it comes to homes in proximity. We have been told that neighbors have been asked to turn any door camera footage into authorities, and we understand that is happening now. Back here on the street, Harris, and with that in mind, I want to give folks a look at the street we're talking about. So you can see it's a beautiful street, lots of desert vegetation, a lot of cactus. What you can't tell is that there are actually quite a few homes, and that's by design. They're set into the back. What you also don't see, Harris, are lamps. You don't have lights here in the street. We were here at 3:30 this morning. It was pitch black. Part of that is local ordinance dealing with light pollution and such, but you really can't see anything. So the question is now, what do those door cameras hold? What were they able to see in the middle of the night in this already dark place? We will have to wait and see. One other thing, Fox Digital now confirming the Los Angeles Times reporting that there was blood found in the house. Fox News Digital now saying that it was just maybe a drop or two of blood just outside the home. We are still waiting for another update from the Sheriff's Department. Harris?
Look, I saw you taking that walk very early, starting out on Fox and Friends this morning, and I thought it was so important for you to mention that because after the sheriff spent a good amount of time during that news conference yesterday, just avid about how much they need technology and camera footage and check your ring bell and all of that. I thought about that. And I mean, the Skyline Drive area is pretty pitch black until the sun creeps up. I mean, there are not even a lot of security lights that are on unless you're moving around a lot. So otherwise, because there's so much wildlife up there, mountain lions and javelina, things would be going off suddenly. So you don't have that. They're positioned in such a way, the motion sensors for most homes, so that they don't keep going off. So even those cannot turn on lights repeatedly because of all the animal movement. It is a tough area to find someone in, but we'll continue to watch it to see if maybe she was taken outside that area. Alicia, great reporting today. Thank you. Nicole Parker, former FBI Special Agent, Fox News contributor, is with me now. There is a detail in this that I want to know about. So a pacemaker synced on Sunday morning. That was the last time that it was synced with Apple devices. The Apple devices, the charger that they were connected to, all still left in the home. The pacemaker, obviously, with Nancy, in Nancy. So what does this tell you in terms of the timeline?
This is a huge piece of evidence that has just been broken. And I think that that is what this case will come down to, is technology. And the fact that the pacemaker was no longer there and able to sync to the devices, that is extremely crucial. I think another thing that law enforcement will be looking at were there any other devices that were attempting to, when you go into an area and it says, would you like to sync to this Wi-Fi? I'm sure that they'll be checking to see if the intruder brought any of their own devices to see if anything hit routers, to see if they can backtrack in that way as well. But I think it's important to note, victim selection in this case was extremely deliberate. This is not by chance. We know that the most vulnerable members of society are children and the elderly. And I just keep going back to, again, a very different case, a very different motive for sure. But Elizabeth Smart, she was, abducted from her home in 2002 in the dead of night, with her little sister present. This is obviously different. It's an elderly woman, though, who was also equally as vulnerable. We know that there are pictures of her with her sweet daughter, Savannah, with a walking cane. The individual knew that she did not have the ability to defend herself. She is an elderly individual. They are most vulnerable, and it is not by chance. And the fact that the home is in such an area where it is set back from the street, no street lights, very difficult for anyone to track if someone was there. They're set on an acre of land with vegetation surrounding them. It's not like the Brown case where Ring doorbell cameras can capture, things in a very more urban area. It's going to be difficult for law enforcement, but do not underestimate the power of over 1,000 leads and tips that have come into law enforcement. They will be checking license plate readers in the surrounding streets and areas, because remember, this woman was taken from her home and had to have been transported in some way. Maybe not the exact neighborhood. If they turned down the lights, there were no lights, not a lot of cameras captured it. But even the surrounding streets and neighborhoods, law enforcement will be checking every single surveillance camera in that area in that time frame. And now you have the 2 a.m. time frame that helps them narrow in on when this actually occurred.
Yeah, and I mean, when you talk about, and Alicia did such a great job of showing that all morning long, the recessed positioning of a lot of those houses, it does give you a beautiful look at they're in the Saguaro National Forest, just above where this is at North Campbell and Skyline Drive. So when you look at that, you can't see a neighbor's porch from a neighbor's porch, because everything is recessed back. And it is, I mean, these cacti are huge. These are not just baby ones that were built with new construction. And so all of that matters, because to keep an eye on each other as neighbors, you'd have to be on the street. Your last quick thought about just searching outside of this area. How does this work typically? Because they've been at this property. So what's next?
So what's next is they're, again, going to continue to pour through all of the evidence. The cell phone was there on site. Law enforcement will be going into that. We know that there was no ransom note left. There's no ransom demand based on what law enforcement has told us. And so, again, they will be relying on the tips of the individuals in the neighborhood, any cameras, license plate readers, and also interviews. We cannot underestimate the power of human intelligence in the interviews. Who were the caretakers? Who are the people, the pool person, the mailman, the pest control person? Who knew that she lived in this home by herself? We know that Savannah Guthrie had her mother on set with her on the Today Show, and recently in November was even in Tucson with her mother on air. Who knew that? Was Savannah herself the target of something? Was there someone who had a grievance with Savannah? We do not yet know that, but I do know for a fact that law enforcement is assisting. We've got FBI, CBP, local, state law enforcement, all hands on deck. And most of all, Harris, the power of prayer.
That's right.
She has begged and pleaded for prayer. And I'll tell you, I've used prayer so many times in my investigations. It matters.
It does.
This is, what the hell is going on, guys? What in the hell is going on? And what happened here? Something to me, I mean, clearly I've been saying it since day one. Something smells off. Something feels like something feels like an inside job. I'm just going to keep it real. This feels 110% like an inside job. And I don't mean family. I mean, I just feel like there's somebody else out there that has been watching, lurking in the background, watching every single move that she's made, studying everything that she does. And then they found the opportunity to pounce. Let's be real. It's been hard out here for a lot of people. People start getting desperate when it comes to money or lack thereof. People will do anything they can to make sure that themselves and their own are taken care of. So maybe this is a situation where there was just, obviously I'm not trying to justify anybody doing what they're doing, but may they get the justice swiftly and may she get found quickly. But I feel like there's a lot of people that are willing to do whatever they can because desperate times call for desperate measures, right? Again, we're living in some hard times, So again, maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. But real quick, let me just get a few of these super chats because I see a bunch of them and they're don't worry, the show's not over. I'm just grabbing these really quick. First and foremost, okay. First off, Debbie, thank you so much for being a member for so long and being an amazing mod as usual. But happy belated birthday to Tipsy Gypsy. Happy belated birthday, Tipsy. Hopefully it was a wonderful one. Happy birthday. And of course, thank you so much for being a fantastic mod as well. Happiest of birthdays. Hopefully you had your cake and you ate it too. Okay. Hopefully it was a wonderful one. Okay. Medusa, thank you so much for the super sticker. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Nurse for God, thank you so much for being a member for the past 11 months, almost a year, guys. You work so hard for the community. I'm here to tell you guys the stories and give you guys the updates of what's going on. So thank you so much, Nurse for God. I appreciate it. Let's get this one too. Shanat, hopefully I'm saying that correct. Do you think Nancy is still alive? I hope she is. I think she is. I think she still is. I think she's injured, but I still think she's alive. And I'm going to hold on to that until we hear something otherwise, right? I'm going to say that, and I'm going to keep holding on to hope until we hear otherwise. But right now, here's one thing's for sure. Here's one thing that's true. And this will be a defining factor on whether or not she is still alive and breathing. First, number one, if that ransom note is real, then she's alive. That's what I think. If she's not alive, there would be no ransom note. You see what I'm saying? Then that depends on if the ransom note is real. Okay. Now, if the ransom note is fake, I don't know. That's why I'm holding on to hope, and I'm holding on to her still being alive. Give it time. We'll see more, I'm sure. We'll find out more information here soon enough. But here is something else. I think this is they play a little bit of the 911 dispatch in here. So let's play a little bit of this 911 dispatch in here.
And everything we've learned, she could not walk out of that home 50 yards. No, we believe she was taken out of the home against her will.
Today's show host Savannah Guthrie's mother is missing, and authorities in Arizona now fear it was a possible kidnapping or abduction. The local sheriff said, "I can't think of the last time where in the middle of the night, in someone's bed, an 84-year-old woman disappeared on us." Police revealed to the Los Angeles Times that blood was found in Nancy Guthrie's home in Catalina Foothills outside Tucson. There were also signs of forced entry in her $1 million house. Nancy Guthrie, age 84, is reportedly sharp as a tack, but has limited mobility and takes daily life-saving medication.
Okay, wait a second. I thought that there was... Hold on. Let's just look at the... Let's look at this article. I thought that this had like the dispatch audio, but they're saying Savannah Guthrie's mom, Nancy Guthrie, has high blood pressure, a pacemaker, and cardiac issues, according to 911 dispatch audio regarding the 84-year-old's disappearance. In addition to her health woes, the brief clip obtained by Fox News Digital on Tuesday gave a physical description of the matriarch, who became the suspect of a missing persons investigation on Monday. Hold on. On Sunday. Let me see something here. Maybe they got it here instead. Looks like they may. Hold on. 1 second. Commercials. 1 second, guys. Gotta love the freaking commercials, mang. But they apparently this is the dispatch that we're gonna be looking at here or listening to here very, very shortly.
Nancy, a white female, 84 years of age.
Playing it again. That's not what I wanted.
I've been an
dear Lord. All right. Okay, skipping ad.
Female, 84 years of age, 5'2" medium build, powder blue. Nancy has high blood pressure, pacemaker, and cardiac issues.
That's it. That's all they said in that doggone thing. So nothing that we haven't heard before. Okay. I mean, obviously they've been saying it. We've been saying the same thing ad nauseum, which is understandable, which is necessary. But at the same time, we're hearing all the same stuff, right? Sharp as attack, doesn't have any cognitive decline, never been diagnosed with Alzheimer's or dementia. She has issues walking. She can't walk farther than 50 yards on her own. She probably has a bad hip or bad knee, something of that sort, right? So she is physically, she has some physical ailments. She is 84 years old, everybody. She's 84 mother-loving years old. But yeah, that's the question, Melody, I'd like to know too. Who called 911? Who actually called up 911 for this situation? And I want to know who's the person that went to the house to check on her, who initially did the wellness check on her. Was it Annie? Was it Cameron, the son? Annie, the sister? Savannah wasn't there. So we can't look at Savannah in any kind of way because Savannah was in New York doing what she does best. Getting ready to host, having a weekend and getting ready to host the Today Show. So again, what's up with that? Again, Annie allegedly is the last person to see her mama, to see Nancy. She dropped her off after playing mahjong, and having dinner with her daughter, Annie. Or Annie was playing games and doing that, eating dinner with Nancy, and then dropped her off. She was supposed to go to church early the next morning. She did not show up. Somebody at church said, "That's weird. I was expecting her to be here and she's not here. That concerns me." And then, wellness check. Somebody showed up, saw the place in bad shape. There was clearly a sign of some sort of struggle. And now we're here where we're at. So we haven't heard, they haven't said anything else, which is frustrating, right? We do have some more. Hold on. It's taking its time for some weird reason. Come on. Okay. So Savannah Guthrie's husband speaks out. In fact, Savannah Guthrie did speak out earlier this morning. So I want to pull that up as well. Okay. But this is all scary. I'm going to keep it real. This is all very, very scary. No one, I repeat, no one deserves, no family deserves this. Okay. This is scary, very, very scary stuff. Hold on. Let me just find, where's the search? Okay, there it is. Come on. Because I do want to pull up what she put up on her Instagram. Let's take a look at this here really quick. Before we look at Savannah Guthrie's husband speaks out as well. He made a statement as well. So let's take a look at this. It says, she says, "We believe in prayer." This is the most recent thing that she put out earlier, like is late last night or almost yesterday evening, right? So it says, "We believe in prayer. We believe in voices raised in unison, in love, in hope. We believe in goodness. We believe in humanity. Above all, we believe in Him. Thank you for lifting your prayers with ours and for our beloved mom, our dearest Nancy, a woman of deep conviction, a good and faithful servant. Raise your prayers with us and believe with us that she would be lifted by them in this very moment. We need you. Then she says, he will keep in perfect peace those whose hearts are steadfast, trusting in the Lord. A verse of Isaiah for all time, for all of us. Bring her home. So again, this, it breaks my heart even reading that out loud, I mean, again, like I said, imagine if this was your own mama, this is, I mean, doesn't matter if you agree or like what she covered or liked how she reported the news. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What happened here is absolutely terrifying for any person, right? Let us go into what Savannah Guthrie's husband says as well. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look. So Savannah Guthrie's husband, Michael Feldman, has broken his silence on the disappearance of his mother-in-law, Nancy Guthrie. So 57-year-old Feldman exclusively told Page Six on Tuesday morning that he doesn't have anything new to report in the desperate search for Nancy. The public relations and communications consultant added that he's, quote unquote, just being responsive, but feels, quote unquote, mostly unhelpful in the gut-wrenching situation. Yeah, I mean, what would you do if you were in this? I mean, I don't wish this on anybody, not even my worst enemy. Okay. But what would you do in this kind of situation if you were just somebody on the sidelines? This was happening to your mother-in-law, or this is happening to somebody, you know what I mean? Somebody else's, like your spouse or your partner's, your partner's cousin or their own kin. What do you do, right? That's crazy, right? But he's just being responsive, but feels mostly unhelpful in this gut-wrenching situation. So, however, he expressed appreciation for the media's thoughtfulness. Nancy, who lives alone in the Catalina foothills neighborhood of Tucson, Arizona, has not been seen since Saturday night. So we already know about all that. Let's see if he said anything else. I mean, it's like that's all he said. Let's see. The family went to Nancy's house. Okay. Looked for her, called 911 at around 12:15 p.m. This is an 84-year-old woman who is safe in her own home, asleep, and she is taken. That should never happen. This is what we already read about that. Physical ailments we already know, but this is a nice little shot of the house. That's really helpful. Take a look at this. That is a big freaking place for one person, y'all. That is a massive place for one 84-year-old woman. Now, don't get me wrong. You could be 84 and living in that kind of spot all day long by your lonesome, but she's living there by her lonesome, and she's not very able-bodied. Sure, don't get me wrong. Look at all that. Look at the spread. Look at all that space. That's amazing, right? It's a blessing to have that kind of space, right? All that space. But at the same time, that could also be very, very dangerous, right? There's potential for bad people looking at that situation and going, oh, I see her by herself, right? Yeah, she needed security. She needed something. You know what I mean? She was vulnerable in her own home. That's terrible. It's become apparent to investigators that they're looking at it as a crime scene, which we already know. Yeah, this is freaking nuts, guys. Freaking nuts. There's more. Hold on. We are continuing on in our search. Let's see what's going on. Let's see if there's any new updates in regards to this, in regards to this ransom note, right? Let's see. CBS just said they're saying, hold on, sorry. They're saying that the note is being investigated in this whole situation. A ransom note was sent to local, they're saying not only just TMZ, they're saying it was sent to local Arizona news stations following the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The note, which the station received Monday and agreed not to report on. What? Why would they have that note and not put it out yesterday, mother lovers? Say that again? What? Do you realize how weird that is? Don't you find that a little weird? Hold on. I didn't mean to pause, but that seems a little bit weird. The note, which the station received Monday, so yesterday, and agreed not to report on, contains specific details about the home and what Nancy was wearing that night. So Pima County Sheriff's Nanos, okay, said although he would not confirm the accuracy of that information or the legitimacy of the note. So wait, what? So you got a local news station that received a ransom note as early as yesterday, as recently as yesterday, and they didn't say anything about that to the world at all. Now, I can understand that if maybe that ransom note was like, if you tell anybody anything, then she gets it. You know what I mean? They can do all kinds of crazy stuff, right? They could be really just diabolical out here. So that's a possibility, but it seems a bit odd that they would hold on to this ransom note and not say anything. So now, here's the thing. When TMZ received this, that could also mean something else as well. But we're gonna talk about that in just a second. That's very interesting, though, that yesterday in Arizona, a local Arizona news station received a ransom note, and they did not report it at all until today from TMZ, because TMZ don't give a damn. Let's be real. TMZ is about just breaking the news. But we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay, let's continue on. Investigators have analyzed the note and are taking it seriously. They're taking it, well, I don't know how seriously. Well, I get they're playing a lot of things close to the vest, and they don't want people losing their doggone minds out here in these streets about some ransom note that may be real or may not be real at all, right? It can be a fugazi or an autentico. Okay, we're learning Italian one day at a time. Okay, so moving on. He said the FBI reviewed the note and made the decision to share it with Savannah Guthrie. Authorities had hoped to keep the information from becoming public, but then the note was obtained by TMZ, which reported on it before contacting the sheriff's office. There we go. What did I say? So local PD or local news in Arizona received it, sent it, instead of reporting it, sent it straight to the cops. Cops said, keep quiet on this. We need to, don't say nothing. Let the family know what's going on. But we're going to keep this one close to the vest. And then you want to know something? Here's my theory now. See, here's my theory. This is like out of a freaking movie, okay? I swear to God, this is a movie. We're watching a movie. They didn't report on it. Local Arizona news did not report on it. So they got mad. Whoever did this, whether this note is real or not, they want the public to know something. So the fact that they didn't report it, because they sent it to Arizona News, they didn't send it directly to the Guthrie family. They didn't send it directly to the 5-0. They sent it to the news, everybody. Think about that. They want the attention. Why? To make it more dramatic? To bring more desperation to the situation? Or are they really just that dumb? I'm leaning on the latter. They dumb. But here's the thing. They didn't like the fact that local news didn't go, we have a ransom letter. right? They didn't do that. They didn't like that. So what did they do? They sent it to TMZ. And they sent the same letter to a couple other news stations as well at the same damn time because they were worried that TMZ may not report on it. But it's TMZ, baby. So of course they're going to report on it. And that's exactly what the hell they did. We just received this letter, blah, blah, blah. We are sending it to the sheriff, to Pima County Sheriff's Office right now. But we're here to report it really quick to you guys right now. We can't give you any details about what's going on in the paperwork or in this ransom note, but they're asking for a whole lot of money. And they want it sent through cryptocurrency to this particular Bitcoin address, which we have confirmed is real. They didn't give us a whole lot of information, but they did say that a ransom note does exist. Ain't that interesting? They sent it to local news. Local news did, in my personal opinion, the right thing and sent it to the cops first. Cops said, don't talk about this at all. Because they didn't talk about it, whoever these evildoers are got in their fee-fees and said, you want to play games? Okay. And they sent it to TMZ and they started sending it to everybody else as soon as they could. Because they wanted to cause a buzz. Why? Like I said, we're watching a mother-loving movie right now. This is a movie. And maybe they said, you know what, TMZ will definitely put it out there. And it will get to everyone quickly because it's TMZ. Right? Somebody got in their fee-fees about this. Interesting. Let's continue on, though. So, Pima County Sheriff's Department had earlier said on social media it was aware of reports circulating about possible ransom notes, adding anything that comes in goes directly to our detectives who are coordinating with the FBI. And you realize that in the last press conference, I hate to say this, though, in the last press conference, they didn't talk about any of that. People were asking about a ransom note. They didn't answer anything. They didn't say, yes, there's a ransom note. They didn't say nothing. No, we did receive something. They didn't say nothing about a ransom note. The only reason why we know about this ransom note is because of TMZ. And the only reason why the Pima County Sheriff's Office had to make a statement about said ransom note is because TMZ exposed it. But we would be completely in the dark if they did not expose that piece of information. Hey, TMZ might TMZ sometimes, okay? But at the same time, though, they didn't do super dirty. They just said, hey, we got a ransom note. They want a lot of money that we will not disclose how much. They want to send to this Bitcoin address, and that Bitcoin address we confirmed is real. That's all they said. I appreciate that information. At least we heard something. But clearly the person who sent that ransom note wanted it to be public. For sure. I'm sure it didn't say like, don't disclose this information to the public. No, they wanted this to be public. For sure. Hence the reason why other news stations received it as well. Surveillance video from a home security system has yielded nothing so far. This is what Nano said, which we already know. He said the investigators, believe the system may have been set to automatically delete footage after a short period of time, and they are now attempting to recover it through forensic means. That's interesting as well. So the system that was capturing all this footage may have automatically deleted the footage after some time. But what's weird is that she was reported missing the very next day, several hours after she was allegedly taken. So how fast does this stuff delete? What, every 12 hours? Every 6 hours, for crying out loud? You see what I'm saying? It just makes you wonder. So Nana previously told CBS News that investigators believe the 84-year-old was abducted from her home in the middle of the night over the weekend, and he described it as a crime scene, which we already know. Authorities have been watching or searching for her since Sunday, which we already know all about that. But that's interesting. I'm so glad I opened up this ransom note conversation on CBS News. Yeah, I know, CBS. But at the same time, that is very interesting that a local news station received that information and then sat on it. And then the very next day, because it didn't get out, they did not make it a public statement. They did not make it public. That person, the abductor, allegedly the abductor, took it upon themselves to send this to other news stations, including a massive one like TMZ. That shows you what kind of person we're dealing with. This shows you what kind of person that they're dealing with, if that ransom note is real. This is not some crazy, I don't know. I'm still side-eyeing it. I still don't think it's real, the ransom note, but it does show you what kind of person potentially we're dealing with. That this is more than just for fun. This is more than just, not for fun, but you know what I mean? More than just for the clout. I feel like it's more than that, but it could be 110% fake as well. Give it time. We will find out. Some wild stuff. We are living in a wild freaking time. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Whoa, hold on. Dear Lord, have mercy. Let's see. Hold on. This is very frustrating. Let's see.
We continue to follow the latest into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the mother of Today's Show anchor Savannah Guthrie. The 84-year-old was last seen Saturday night at her home in the Catalina foothills. That is where multiple agencies conducted a search for her.
Guthrie was abducted in the middle of the night out of her own bedroom. Still, there are a lot of questions about what happens from here and what that means for this investigation. I spoke with a former PCSD sergeant who specializes in crime scene reconstruction to help peel back the curtain on just what is going on right now in Guthrie's residence.
Weaver Barkman has seen his fair share of missing persons cases in Pima County during his 25 years in law enforcement. He says the initial 48 hours hinges on one key factor.
In your experience, Barkman, what's the most important aspect in an investigation like this?
An investigation like this with an unexplained absence, the three most important things are the scene, and the scene.
He says physical evidence is the most reliable evidence, especially in a case like Guthrie's,
which later can be used to construct hypotheses, theories, start reconstructing events.
Which may be part of the reason the sheriff's department called off the ground search, believing a crime was committed in Guthrie's home. In this case, homicide detectives were brought in early on, but Barkman says that doesn't necessarily mean this was a murder.
Detectives know something that investigators don't. Detectives understand that the bedrock issue in police work is human behavior. What did they do? Why would someone do that? Who did it?
In fact, Pima County Sheriff Chris Nandos cleared up in recent interviews he believes Guthrie was abducted in the middle of the night.
Does the fact that this is being called an abduction case change any part of this investigation or resources that you think that the sheriff's office should be looking at?
For my purposes, it would change very little because you must have a solid foundation. What does change is the sense of urgency.
Urgency escalated because of Guthrie's current health conditions And all the national attention this case is getting may seem to increase that urgency further, but Barkman says the physical evidence at the scene has to remain the focus.
The fact that this is a high-profile case, does that change anything in an investigation like this?
High-profile cases do generate stress in the organization. However, Nanos has been around long enough to know you must rely on the evidence and act accordingly.
Now, Nano says they are still keeping up hope that Guthrie is alive. If you have any information, you are asked to call PC.
Call 911. If you know anything, call 911 freaking 1. Hold on, guys. Sorry. This is just insane. All of this is just absolutely shocking. And I know I keep saying this is insane, this is insane, this is insane, but I am still trying to understand why something like this would actually happen to any person for that matter, including, you know, a mom, an innocent, loving mom that's just trying to live her freaking life. It just, I don't know. It's just so strange. And I'm just trying to see if there's any more pieces of information that we know about so far. Let's check this out.
As crews continue to investigate Nancy Guthrie's disappearance and suspected abduction, neighbors are hoping for her to come home safely.
13 News reporter Catherine Patterson joining us live from the neighborhood and spoke with residents whose street has become ground zero in the case.
Yeah, Dan, Brooke, on the ground and in the sky, deputies and news teams have really taken over this small neighborhood, and residents are really every once in a while popping out to see what's going on. We had a chance to talk with some of them. Here's what they had to think about all of this. The serene views of the Catalina foothills have turned into a crime scene.
We noticed the sheriff's department helicopter, we noticed the drones, we noticed the large response.
Slowly but surely, the neighbors around here are finding out about their neighbor, Nancy Guthrie, who deputies believe may have been abducted from her home a few doors down overnight.
Generally, we exchange information like this, although it's never been serious like this before.
Even though official search efforts have stopped on the ground, it's not stopping volunteers.
So I said, you know, I'm going to go do my part and see what I can find. If something happened to my mom, I don't want as many people out here trying to help me find her.
Dozens of residents have been crouching in the thick brush around the neighborhood looking for anything.
It's kind of nice to suddenly think that I'm in a neighborhood where this does exist and people are interested and willing to do whatever they might be able to do.
The Catalina Foothills Association says their phone line has been ringing since last night.
And suddenly this thing came up and everyone's talking about it.
But it's a waiting game for neighbors who are looking for answers for the woman they see driving by every day.
One thing that's astonished me is how many people actually know the family. They know, you know, the woman who is disappeared, and they know the daughters.
We truly hope that they find her.
On top of searching on foot, PCSD is also asking for neighbors around here to share any security camera videos, any Ring camera videos, and any information that may help Nancy Guthrie return home safely.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's the case here too. I mean, of course, we all want this mom to come home and be okay, right? But let's take a look at this. We got something else here. This is about an hour ago. It's about the ransom notes.
See, we got very few answers to the many questions today surrounding the abduction of Nancy Guthrie from the sheriff at a rather bizarre press conference. For instance, he was asked if he believed the 84-year-old was taken from her home here in Tucson by one or more people. His answer, quote, no clue. He was asked if he believes that investigators are searching for someone who is still alive. His answer, quote, we hope we are. Now, the sheriff did confirm that they have found DNA on the property, Nancy Guthrie's home, but he did not confirm the reporting of Fox Digital that DNA is comprised of blood drops. The sheriff did say, though, the only match they have so far found to any DNA found at the crime scene is to Nancy Guthrie herself. He said job number one for them now is to start from the beginning when Nancy Guthrie was last seen. That, according to a family member who dropped her at her home, was around 9:30 p.m. Saturday night. And he said, we go from there. As for the question of a ransom note, TMZ reporting tonight, along with at least one other local media outlet here, that TMZ, received a ransom note. It did, according to TMZ, include details that are not known publicly, such as what Nancy Guthrie was wearing when she was abducted. TMZ says they have forwarded that note to law enforcement. The Pima County Sheriff's Office behind me here just released a statement saying simply that they are aware of reports of a ransom note. They are continuing to follow all tips and leads. Jesse?
Thanks so much, Jonathan. Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Hey, Sean Hannity. See you later, Sean Hannity. What's crazy is that now they have a tip line. There's a new number for Nancy Guthrie. They got a tip line now for anything that may be helpful in trying to find her. It's just so crazy. This whole thing's just insane. Let's hear what TMZ has to say. They were on Fox News. One of the guys from TMZ is doing an interview. Let's take a look at this.
In the meantime, we are continuing to follow the big story out of Tucson, Arizona. The search for Savannah Guthrie's mom continues. Earlier today, there was a news conference, the Pima County Sheriff holding another update. During that news conference, though, not a lot of news was made. In fact, not much was learned of the investigation. But right about an hour after this news conference, new reporting started to come out, including from TMZ right here. They received an unverified ransom note today demanding a substantial amount for the return of Today anchor Savannah Guthrie's missing mom, Nancy. We have since contacted law enforcement. Story was developing and continues at this hour. So I want to go right now out to TMZ. TMZ's Michael Babcock joining us here with the latest. And Michael, this is a huge development. What do we know right now, and how are you guys working the story?
Hey, Mike, thank you for having me. Yeah, it was about mid-morning this morning when we get an email to our TMZ tip email box that, again, essentially says, look, we're the people behind this, behind the disappearance of Nancy.
We are the people. We are the people. Just want you to hear that one more time. We are the people.
We are the people behind this, behind the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, and we are demanding what was a large sum of money, Mike. Now, it wasn't to be paid in U.S. currency, but instead in cryptocurrency, in Bitcoin. Now, look, whether or not the letter is a joke, bad, cruel joke from somebody, or it's legitimate, that obviously is now for law enforcement to try and figure out and determine. We, upon receiving this, immediately turned it over to them as the state and local and the federal authorities obviously do everything they can to find her, Mike. But so you had the demand for the large sum of money to be paid in Bitcoin. By the way, included was an address that is an actual Bitcoin address on the blockchain. And there were a couple of items around the home, Mike, that were noted, that were brought up in this email that potentially only the people responsible for taking Nancy Guthrie might know. So those were the two real big things that stood out from this letter. And, obviously it's a story that has captivated the country as, again, they desperately try and find 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie.
Yeah.
Now, let me just say this first and foremost. Mike Patch, hopefully I'm saying his last name correctly, the guy up on top, don't you ever wear a shirt like that again. It is an optical illusion, baby. Okay, those patterns are throwing me off. Okay, my ADHD is ADHDing. Okay, sorry, just had to say that out loud. Here's the other part. All right, they're saying that we are the people. They said people. Now, here's the thing. If this ransom note is real, then I'm right. At least that one theory is correct. That they said we are the people that did this. Yeah, vertigo, like I'm just like, like, yeah, it's bad. Okay, that striped shirt, that checkered shirt is throwing me off, baby. Okay, what the is going on with his shirt? But here's the thing, all right? Okay, no, I don't really have ADHD. I have ADD. I think everybody has ADD, but that's another conversation in itself, okay? But here's the thing. I truly think that they're not just writing this to say, oh, we the people, you know what I mean? We are doing this. And it could just be one person. No, I really do think that there's a team of people that actually did this. I truly think that. Now, again, that all depends. It all freaking depends on if this is real or not. If this is a fugazi or if this is authentico. That is the question. Okay? That is most definitely the question. All right? But I'd love to know what's in that note. I think all of us would like to know, right? What was being said in that note? Now, he gave us the same crap that TMZ gave us earlier. Same stuff. He didn't change anything. He didn't change the story. Same stuff. But I wish we had known, we could find out more. Someone is going to leak this ransom note here very soon because it's just too hot, right? This is just too big of a story. Somebody is going to do that, right? Somebody's going to leak this, but let's continue.
Absolutely. Wow. So those key details of something inside the home, though, that really only family members would know about. That's pretty key right there. Michael, when this happened at TMZ today, I mean, what is going on in the newsroom? How fast are you guys talking about it to send it to authorities?
Yeah, immediately, Mike. I think it's, look, obviously you do this day in, day out, and some stories are bigger than others, but this was a unique situation. I think, I've been 12 and a half years or so here, and I can't remember ever having anything even similar to that happening. So you look at it and you sort of do a double take, and then immediately phone calls are made to the authorities, and everything is handed over to them that needs to be handed over. And then at that point you say, okay, all right, now is this something that we talk about, don't talk about? And obviously now here we are. But yeah, I think just shock and real surprise that you're reading what you're reading, Mike.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And, as we continue to look for more details and really the family of the Guthries still holding out extreme hope during this very difficult time. But as the hours go on, is the thinking here more that this was not a random 84-year-old abduction, that this had something to do with Savannah because of maybe the money she makes or the national exposure that she has on TV? I mean, what is the thinking here?
Right. Yeah. No, I think I think that's a great point, Mike. And I'm not sure if that indicates that it is or was something that was targeted. It's just a strange situation. I mean, just to have an 84-year-old kidnapped, and at least again, if we assume for a second that email is not in fact something legitimate, why was this seemingly done? And there were still so many unanswered questions. She goes to dinner, Nancy does, Saturday night with her daughter. Everything is fine, is normal from all accounts, and then does not show up for church on Sunday morning, and people around her and people at in the congregation saying something doesn't seem right here, and phone calls are then made, and obviously then police are alerted. It's such a weird and strange case, Mike. And again, I think just still more unanswered questions than we have answers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of questions, more than answers for right now. Of course, FBI agents have arrived to apparently they've actually shown up to Savannah Guthrie's sister's home. Not saying that means that the sister has anything to do with it. I think that they're all just kind of meeting there to figure out what the hell's going on here, right? And then kind of go from there as far as this goes. But let's continue.
Really, really is, Michael. And last question here. When the authorities were told about this, did they have any inclination? Were they caught off guard? Were they surprised by this? Or was it just business as usual?
Yeah. I don't think, and I didn't make the call myself, so I unfortunately wouldn't be able to speak to what the tone was. But from what I know, from just being in the room here when the call was made, I think it was a very matter of fact. But I will say, not something I think that they brushed off, Mike, as hey, this is probably bogus. I think they took it very seriously and have then taken steps to kind of try and track down where this might have come from.
Yeah, no doubt. Michael Babcock.
Yeah. I think I'm hoping FBI, FBI has entered the building. Okay. They have entered the chat. So I'm hoping that they're doing everything they can and they're diving into this situation. And they're doing that reverse math, because I think that's what we need more than anything, just to make sure that that ransom note that all these news outlets have already received is authentic. Because if it's not authentic, if it's not real, then it's just one big red herring that's going to throw people off, right? And that's not right. That's going to throw people off the case. It's going to throw people off the scent of where they need to be focused on. And so hopefully they're going to figure some things out. I'm closing that poll though. Out of 2,400 votes. Wow, that's a lot of people. 59% of you guys, almost half, it's almost there, but 59% of y'all do not think that ransom note is real. Wow, that's crazy. 59% of y'all do not think it's real. So you think it's a fugazi. That is insane. That is, and good to know. Good to know. You guys think it's a fugazi. All right. But that's very, very interesting. Let me get some of these super chats here really quick before we continue on here, just to chisel this down even more. I think I already did Medusa, but thank you so much, Medusa. Again, thank you so much. Reed, thank you so much for gifting 1 membership. Welcome to the family, new member. Welcome, Reed. Thank you so much, Reed. General Genobi, thank you so much. You gave me 2 of them, so thank you so much for the super chats. The pics of the front door blood out as well. Yes, we just saw that. So thank you so much for that. Harvey is in the files. LOL, true story. Harvey, you talking about the Weinstein? Are you talking about that? Harvey? That's the only Harvey I know. Harvey Levin. Harvey Levin's name is in there. Really? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that he's up to anything nefarious, but I'm just saying there's been so many names. You got Robin Leach in there, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Lifestyles of the rich and famous. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be surprised Harvey Levin's name is in there somewhere. Yes. Grateful. Thank you so much. Harvey Levin should retire. He's a lawyer, for Pete's sakes. He got a little too excited about this one and didn't think clearly. I think anybody would have been excited about, hyped about getting this kind of information. Like, holy crap, who is, you know what I mean? They're sending it to us. Whoa. You know what I mean? That's some breaking news. That's a big deal. That's a big freaking deal. But that's crazy that if that's true, that Harvey Levin's name is in the Epstein files. That's crazy, because we are going to be talking about the Epstein files here very briefly, and very shortly and briefly here in just a second. Mom Interrupted, thank you so much for the love. 2 months ago, Savannah did an episode on Today about returning to her hometown, where she does an interview inside her mom's home. I wonder how many unsavory people may have seen that episode. That's a very good point too. See, that's the thing. It's like, you're showing every nook and cranny of somebody's home, and it's like, look at the lavish lifestyle of my mother. That could look bad. If that rests on the eyes of the wrong person, that could be bad. But then here's the other thing too. Mom Interrupted, thank you so much for giving us that information. But you also got to remember, no matter what, any person that's on TV, that's, on a prominent TV show, that kind of thing, they are all subject to become a victim. Even their loved ones being held at ransom, etc. Those things are really, really bad. Look at anybody who's out there, like, that has a late night talk show, to a regular talk show, to any of these shows, CNN, Fox News, NBC, MS Now, to News Nation, all the way to freaking ABC, CBS, you name it, right? Any of those people during day or night, they are all subject to something bad. If the wrong person puts their focus on them and their loved ones, right? It's terrifying. Even these big time podcasters, right? I'm talking about the ones that are making a lot of that money, like crazy, stupid money. I wouldn't be surprised. We should all be keeping our heads on a swivel. We are living in some very, very desperate times, and people are doing very, very dangerous and desperate things right now. Okay? Let's see. Reed, thank you so much. FBI and local ethical hack can solve this easy. Yeah, I mean, if you really think about it, FBI could do a little bit of reverse math and maybe find out who sent the email or who set up the Bitcoin account. Give it time. It might, they might be able to get that guy fast. Hopefully they do. Hopefully this guy was so dumb that he did something like that, right? It's a sloppy work. Char's Angel 57, thank you so much for being a member for the past 3 months. I appreciate it. The whole situation is not only sad, but sounds fishy. It is absolutely fishy. Okay, I think we all can agree on that. Jasmine, thank you so much for being a member for 15 months. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Well over a year. Thank you. Thank you, Pascal, for all your hard work. Of course. Thank you so much. Thank you. Tipsy, thank you so much. Happy belated birthday to you again. Thank you so much for the super chat, and of course being a fantastic mod. Thank you. We have to keep hope. I agree. We all do. We have no other choice. There is no other option but to hold on to hope, right? Star Fury, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. If the ransom note is not real, that means there are a lot of sick people in the world. Yeah, that's what's so sad. We do have a lot of sick people out here in this world, okay? Pascal, this is why you were not on TMZ. Be good. Done. I'm done. They still reach out to me, by the way. They're still trying to get me on the show. I've been busy. Every time they go, hey, come on, do you have time to come on? I'm like, I'd love to, but I'm not home, or I'm doing something else, or I'm doing my show. You know what I mean? That, I got work to do. I got stories to tell. I got news to give y'all. You feel me? Don't forget to hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button. Hit that follow button on all these other platforms. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe. We're almost at 190K, which is amazing. Okay. Hit that subscribe button. But we got to get into some other stuff really, really quick. All right. We have some very wild information, because apparently House Democrats are now demanding that Trump testify in regards to Epstein files. All because Republicans want to take down the Clintons. So now Democrats are saying, you want to take down the Clintons? then you got to take down Trump too. Crazy, right? Crazy. Let's take a look at this, shall we, baby? Real quick. Insane. They're like, how dare you? You want them to testify? Then we want Trump to testify too. So, facing the threat of being held in contempt of Congress, Bill and Hillary Clinton on Tuesday agreed to testify before the House Oversight Committee about convicted monster poopy face, Jeffrey Epstein. So Democrats now say Republicans have established a new precedent when it comes to Congress's ability to subpoena and haul in past presidents, first ladies, and family members under threat of criminal charges if they refuse. A precedent they warn the GOP and the oversight chairman, James Comer, will soon regret. We are absolutely going to have Donald Trump testify under oath when Democrats take back power. This is what California Representative Ted Lieu, the member of the Democratic leadership, who for years have been highlighting Donald Trump's ties to Epstein, told NBC News on Tuesday. Holy crap. It's a big deal. This is what another representative said, a former House Majority Leader who is retiring after serving more than 45 years in chamber. And it'd be interesting to see what former President Trump thinks of that premise. So, a lot of people want to see Trump testify. They want to see him subpoenaed and deposed. And they want him to testify. Can you believe that? Because they said, hey, if you're forcing these two, the Clintons, to step forward and speak and talk about their connections with EpiPen, what about Trump, though? What about mother-loving Trump, though? Right? Don't you find that a little bit interesting? I feel like it makes sense. You got Bill Clinton all up in the photos, okay? You got Bill Clinton all up in the photos, hanging out with Trump, hanging out with Epstein, and all that. In fact, there's stuff of him hanging out with Trump too, right? Bubba. So again, Trump's all up in it too. Mentioned of thousands of times in countless papers, right? Countless documents. So why wouldn't they have him testify? You see what I'm saying? So that seems a little bit weird, don't you think? Here's another thing that's absolutely nook and foots. Have mercy. This is weird. Okay? But Jill Biden's so former First Lady, Joe Biden's wife, Jill Biden, had a previous marriage. And that man has now been charged with first-degree M. I don't know why, but it's happening. That is a thing. He unalived his own wife, allegedly. And now he has been charged with M. Y'all, first-degree M. Take a look at this. That's the guy. Let's take a look at this. Before Dr. Jill Biden was the first lady married to President Joe Biden, she was briefly married to Bill Stevenson. The former educator and the entrepreneur met in college at the University of Delaware and got married in 1970. She was only 18 years old at that time. However, they got divorced 5 years later. About a decade after their divorce, Bill wed a woman by the name of Linda, okay? The two were married for over 30 years before Linda was found unresponsive in their Delaware home and was pronounced dead in December of 2025. 1 month later, he was indicted on a first-degree murder charge and was taken into custody without incident, the New Castle County Police Department said in a press release. Here's everything you need to know about Bill. Jill Biden's ex-husband, who's being charged with killing his wife, Linda Stevenson. What in the hell is going on? So he founded the Delaware music venue, the Stone Balloon. Okay. So hold on. Let's get into the part where okay. He was married to Jill from 1970 to 1975. So this is Jill and Bill. Jill and Bill. That really was a thing. Jill and Bill, like Bill and Hill, Laurie. Moving on. The same year that Jill began studying at the University of Delaware in 1969, she met Bill, as she shared in her memoir. Then they got married later, 1 year later, in 1970. Looking back, it may have seemed like that relationship was a mistake of youth, but there was a time when I truly believed we were destined for each other. He was charismatic and entrepreneurial and eventually started his own business. And most importantly, I thought I had found a love like my parents, a partnership built on loyalty and devotion. For a moment, we were happy. I found my Prince charming, and I was sure it would last forever. However, by 1974, their marriage fell apart, and they separated that year. She explained that the divorce devastated her at the time, and she felt lost and horrified by the decision. We were young, and it didn't take long before we grew in different directions. It was at this point that I learned how essential it is to be financially independent, especially as a woman. Even though she, quote unquote, tried to make the relationship work, she had to face the reality of what this relationship was. Before long, she began to see that the breaks were beyond repair. I wouldn't settle for a counterfeit love. Like a broken spell, the truth of the reality struck me suddenly. I was going to get divorced. So it meant failure. And in my still young life, I had never failed at anything serious. I had let down my parents, especially my dad. I had let down myself. I felt ugly and inadequate. I was embarrassed and ashamed. So moving on, Bill and Linda wed in 1996. Here is Linda. So they got married around a decade after his divorce from Jill. In September of 2020, in a September 2020 interview with Inside Edition, Bill said that he and Linda had been married for 34 years, meaning that they got married around 1986. At the time, Jill had also moved on and married Joe Biden in 1977. Because wasn't she cheating? Wasn't that what was going on? She was cheating with Joe on Bill. Wasn't that the whole story? Yeah, she got out quick. She was gone. She went deuces and she was gone. I'm not bitter because if it wasn't for my divorce, I would never have met my wife, Linda, and she's the greatest thing in my life. This is what he said in an interview in August of 2020. So on December 29th, 2025, Linda was found dead in the living room of her and Bill's home in Wilmington, Delaware, according to a press release issued by the Newcastle County Police Department. She was discovered by authorities at approximately 11:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time per the release. Her obituary later reported that she died on December 29th, and she was only 64 years old. Police shared that they responded to the residence after getting a report of a domestic dispute. Officers immediately administered life-saving measures. However, despite their efforts, Linda Stevenson was later pronounced deceased. The Division's Criminal Investigations Unit and the Delaware Division of Forensic Science subsequently began investigating the death and didn't release a cause or any suspects at that time. Linda's family later published an obituary where they wrote that she had passed away unexpectedly, while also not mentioning Bill. The obituary listed her daughter, Christina, and granddaughter Sierra. Linda was deeply family-oriented and treasured time making memories, especially on family vacations with her daughter and granddaughter, the obituary read. Within the last 5 years, she proudly founded B&B Bookkeeping, a business she built with determination, integrity, and heart. She loved her work and truly cared for her clients, many of whom became friends. Her loved ones remembered her as a tenacious, kind-hearted, and fiercely loyal, whose absence will be felt deeply by all who knew her. So, in February of just recently, he has been charged with her murder. So, on the 2nd of February, Bill was arrested and charged with the murder of Linda after an extensive weeks-long investigation. This is what the Newcastle County Police Department said in a press release. He was indicted on a first-degree murder charge and was taken into custody without incident from his home. He was arraigned and is currently being held at the Howard Young Correctional Institution in lieu of a $500,000 bail. What the hell happened here? That is insane. So the ex-husband of the former First Lady Jill Biden, he has been arrested and now he is being charged with first-degree M for taking the life of his own wife, his second wife, Linda Stevenson. That is insane. That is insane. But there you guys have it. We are living in some wild times, guys. And it's only going to get wilder. Yeah, I thought she was like, I thought she turned her own husband into she turned her first husband into a cuck. I hate to say it like that, but she cheated on him. Right? And then she married him. She married Joe Biden quick, but it's forever, ever. They still together to this day. That's crazy, right? And now this guy is he unalived his second wife, allegedly, which is absolutely insane. Carol Era, thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for being a member for the over 34 months. That's amazing. Jill dodged that bullet. Yeah. Yeah, she basically dodged the bullet. Yeah, she definitely dodged a bullet. Okay, for sure. But we'll see if that's actually what he did. It's all alleged, right? He's being alleged and charged with it, but I'm wondering what else they have, right? Pascal, you're the best with the best mods. Yes, that is true. I truly have enjoyed being a part of the Pascal Show family. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so very much. Let me just check a few things. Yeah, again, that is just absolutely crazy. Okay? That is just absolutely crazy. The allegations that are out here on the ex-husband, right? It's like you just can't make it up, right? Hold on. Let's take a look at this briefly. This is going back to the Nancy Guthrie situation. An ex-FBI agent is basically an ex-FBI profiler is claiming that she was selected for this situation in advance and offers terrifying new details about the man behind the attack. Let's take a look at this. Like I said, this is a targeted attack. We can all agree on that. This is most definitely a targeted attack. That's just what I think. Okay? The desperate search to find Savannah Guthrie's missing mother is now approaching its fourth day. Yeah, it's approaching 4 whole days, guys. And investigators and experts are beginning to sketch a chilling profile of the man they believe abducted her. Investigators say there were signs of forced entry and that Guthrie's pacemaker stopped syncing with her Apple Watch data at around 2 a.m. Sunday morning, suggesting this was the moment she was taken from her bed. More than 48 hours on, officials are now in a race against time to bring her home safely. As the search intensifies, experts told the Daily Mail that key clues at the scene suggest Guthrie was abducted by a stranger, likely a man in his 30s or 40s. So, Dr. Brianna Fox, a former FBI special agent in the FBI's behavioral science unit and criminology professor at the University of South Florida, said, if it was a family member or somebody who knows the house, they wouldn't have forced entry. I don't agree. I don't agree with that. Moving on. If she knew them, then they would have likely to have carried out a ruse to get her to go with them and get into the vehicle. That part is, I get that part. But as far as the forced entry part, maybe they don't want it to seem like it's somebody in the family. If it was somebody in the family, you really think that they're just, no, they would try to stage it in a way to throw 5-0 off their scent. You see what I'm saying? If you're really thinking about that, right? If you're really thinking about that, thinking all that out loud, right? It's like, wait a second. If you're trying to get away with this, then you're not going to just open the door and go, Ma, I need to take you somewhere. No, you're going to do all this stuff to make it seem like she is taken against her will. You see what I'm saying? But that's just me. I don't agree with what the FBI, this former FBI profiler, said in the very beginning. But the last part, yeah, clearly you can't just go to her and go, Ma, get in the car. She'll be like, but where are we going? You know what I mean? Like at 2:00 in the morning? Come on. Why don't wait, I need my bags. I need my stuff. I need my purse, blah, blah, blah. No, Ma, just get in the car. I just don't see it like that, right? The fact that Guthrie left her phone, like I just said, her medications behind, plus trails of blood found at the property indicate that this was not the case and that she did not go willingly. So being a stranger doesn't mean that Guthrie was targeted at random. However, whoever abducted her had most likely selected the elderly woman in advance and had surveyed her, learning her habits. This was not just some random selection of a victim. This was probably a person or a group of people that selected her, probably cased her pattern of life, what time she goes to sleep, knew that she didn't have security, knew that she lived alone and was sleeping alone. So this was probably a person or a group of people that selected her. And then they started watching everything she did. Now that goes with my theory, okay? That goes with my theory that I think this is more than just one person involved in this whole mucky muck, right? And that this was a targeted attack. Chris McDonough, a retired detective with Oceanside PD, said that he believes the suspect will have at least crossed paths with Guthrie at some point prior to her abduction. That could be a gardener or a delivery person or so on, he explained. It's somebody who knew that she was around 84 and living in that house on her own. At some point, they had crossed into her environment. Why Guthrie was seemingly targeted remains unclear. Right now, I am still leaning on, again, if this ransom note is real, which I don't think it is real, but if it is real, it's all about the monies. It's all about money. It's all about the access of money. There is a part of me that does still feel like this was somebody that may have, like they said, may have somebody who may have worked there before. Maybe they saw Savannah Guthrie walk in one day. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe they were there during the time that Savannah Guthrie showed up with her TV crew to interview Mama inside the house. And they're like, oh my gosh, she's huge. She's on TV. Oh, she makes crazy money. You see what I'm saying? Oh, she's on that show? You see what I'm saying? At some point, if you're working for someone, you start to learn about people. My daughter is this, and this, and it's a nice house, and she driving a nice whip too. I mean, come on. You start to do the math just a little bit, right? She has a very successful family. Elder abduction is very rare. This is what both Fox and McDonough explained. When it does happen, it is usually personal, such as DV related, or it's financially motivated. So we already know that she lives in a $1 million home. Savannah is estimated to make around $7 million a year as one of the nation's most well-known faces on the Today Show. So again, like I said, you got somebody who makes a lot of money, $7 million a year. That's a whole lot of quiche. And is also a very well-known face on a very popular morning TV show that's on 5 days a week. Come on, guys. Think about that for a second. I think this woman was targeted. I don't think she was taken by just one person. I think that there's at least two people that were involved in the taking of this poor woman. I am hoping and praying that she is alive and well. I'm hoping and praying that she's alive and well. But I do think that this whole thing is in some semblance financially motivated. I think if they really wanted her to be like gone, I don't think she would be missing right now. I think that if they unalived her, she would have been left inside that house. That's what I think. Okay? That's what I think. Why would they take her? If she had lost her life, why would they take her remains? You see what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense. Because you got to remember, if the ransom note is real, she has to appear in the presence of her family alive. You understand that, right? So if she's not alive, and if the ransom note is real, then there would be no ransom note if she was gone. You see what I'm saying? So I'm holding on to the fact that if the ransom note is real, then she's alive and she's okay. She may be a little banged up. She may need her medication, but she ain't gone. If she was gone, there would be no ransom note. You see what I'm saying? And she'd be found somewhere, discarded somewhere. You see what I'm saying? But we'll see. Only time will tell. I'm hoping that she's okay. And that's what we got to hold on to. Hold on to that hope. I'm hoping that she's okay. We will see. But that ransom note is still just very strange to me, guys. Okay? Yeah, no withdrawals of money, because they want more than if they withdraw money, they'll be able to trace that. So they don't want her money. They don't want that money. They want millions in cryptocurrency. So whoever did this is thinking about this. Once again, if that ransom note is real. Okay? What do Holly just said, what do you make of the blood on the porch reported by News Nation? I mean, it shows to me that somebody got hurt. It definitely shows me that somebody got hurt. They're saying it's not the assailant, that the DNA, I guess the blood is hers, which is never good, but it's not a massive amount. You see what I'm saying? It's not like some crazy amount. So she may have been banged upside the head, maybe, hit the nose, maybe, you see what I'm saying? But I don't think that, with that kind of trace of blood, I just don't think it's that detrimental. Still, it's bad, but it's not like a pool of blood. If it was like a pool of blood, I'd be like, oh, snap, it's a wrap. But it's a trail of blood, but it doesn't mean that she's gone. Doesn't mean that she's crossed over. Just means that she's a little banged up. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like a nosebleed or something. That's the vibe I'm getting. But we'll see what happens here, right? We'll see what happens, We're going to keep an eye on this. We're definitely going to keep an eye on this. And when we get some more information, I guarantee you we'll be back live to talk about it, okay? Because for a fact the night is still, it's still early over there. What time is it in Arizona? Hold on. Okay. It's 5:24 in Arizona. So it's still, the day is still young. Or, the night is still young. You never know what they might find, or figure out, right? Fingers crossed though, because I hope she gets found. I hope she gets found okay. I don't wish this on my worst enemy, y'all. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I said, I think the droplets look like she got hit in the nose. That's what I think. I think she got hit in the nose, and we'll see. She might have been hit in the nose. She might have been hit on the head. If you've ever been, if you ever gotten cut on the head, it bleeds fast. You know what I'm saying? So maybe that's what it is. But regardless, there's some sort of trauma that happened. Some sort of trauma. So we'll see what happens, guys. But when we get some more information, we'll talk about it here on the show. But that is the show, guys. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Really means a lot. Like I said, if there's new stuff, yeah, that looked like thick blood too. But you never know. It could have just been caking up because it's been out there in the sun for so long, outside and all that. You never know. But we'll see. But please do me a favor, okay? That's the show. If there's anything that pops off or, breaks overnight, we will talk about it, okay? Trust me, if there's breaking news this evening, we will be live, okay? We want to get this mama home alive. But before we go, hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you are watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, all of them mugs. I'm on all of them. So make sure you hit that follow button. Hit that subscribe button here on my main channel, please and thank you. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. That'd be greatly appreciated. Hit that join button or hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Hit that join button down below. Become a member of the family. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there, so go check it out. PascalMerch.com. All right, guys. Anyway, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Have a great rest of your evening. If there's anything popping off, come right back here. We will be live to talk about it, okay? But until then, be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.